The ugly face let out a burst of sinister laughter. It began to grow rapidly. Then it wanted to eat Lin Feng in one bite. The situation was extremely dangerous. Lin Feng's heart was filled with shock and despair. At this moment, he really couldn't find a way to fight against this terrifying existence in front of him. Lin Feng wanted to use the heaven-patching art to avoid being swallowed by this terrifying existence. But he discovered that after being imprisoned, he couldn't even use the heaven-patching art. Clearly, this terrifying existence had already calculated all the possible scenarios that could occur. Lin Feng was about to be swallowed by this terrifying existence. At this critical moment, Lin Feng's Sovereign Emperor's study suddenly activated. The 6 devouring black holes in Lin Feng's dantian also activated of their own accord. The 6 black holes instantly merged into one. Lin Feng's ancestors appeared in the black holes. Whoosh! With a flash of light, one of Lin Feng's ancestors walked out of the black holes. It was an illusory figure. It was the projection of one of Lin Feng's ancestors branded in his bloodline. This existence was wearing a divine robe. He was very young. He was very handsome. He was like an immortal god. He was like the ruler of heaven and earth. When he appeared, a myriad of das resonated, and golden lotuses bloomed from the ground. He slapped his palm toward the ugly face. Bang! In the next moment, he collided with the ugly face. Accompanied by a violent collision sound, the ugly face was directly sent flying. Ah, it's you. It's you, Master of Gods. This is a bloodline manifestation. You've been dead for so many years. Why didn't you manifest your bloodline? The dead shouldn't be able to manifest their bloodline, right? Why is that? Why is that? Today, I'll let you die once more. The ugly face roared when it saw Lin Feng's bloodline projection. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. He breathed out demonic energy that filled the sky. The demonic energy transformed into a demonic army of hundreds of millions, crushing toward the projection of the Master of Gods. Lin Feng looked at the projection of the Master of Gods floating in front of him in shock. He had never seen his ancestor so close. Was his ancestor really dead? Or perhaps he was still alive in this world? Regardless of whether he was still alive or not, his strength back then was unimaginable. After the era of the titled gods, the cultivation system collapsed. It was his ancestor who created a new cultivation system, allowing the declining cultivation world to flourish once more. This alone was enough to show how high the status of the Master of Gods was. The ugly face in front of him might have been killed by his ancestor, the Master of Gods, when he was alive. That was why he hated his ancestors so much. Lin Feng didn't know who this guy was, but Lin Feng knew that no matter who he was, he definitely wasn't a good person back then. Facing the densely packed devil army that was crushing towards them, Yizichen was stunned. The projection of the Master of Gods reached out his right hand and tapped lightly in the air. Bang! Then, all the demonic army dissipated. Destroy! The projection of the Master of Gods spoke. His voice was like the heavenly voice of the heavenly Tao, resounding between heaven and earth. He slapped his palm toward the ugly face again. After this slap, the word destroy condensed on top of the Master of God's palm. The ugly face once again breathed out a large amount of demonic energy to block the attack of the Master of Gods. The two sides collided once more. This time, the ugly face condensed from demonic energy directly exploded. A large amount of demonic energy was directly reduced to ashes. In the end, only a small amount of demonic energy escaped. Master of Gods, I am immortal and indestructible. Just you wait. I will reincarnate. I will slaughter your entire family. Chapter 45-24. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown when he saw the ball of demonic aura escape. He felt a little helpless because he couldn't keep that ball of demonic aura. That guy's methods were indeed very terrifying. After all, his ancestor, the Master of Gods, was just a projection of his bloodline. Although it was very powerful, it wasn't omnipotent. Therefore, the projection of the Master of Gods couldn't keep that ball of demonic aura. Inheritance. The projection of the Master of Gods turned to look at Lin Feng and revealed a gratified expression. Then, the The projection of the Master of Gods turned into specks of starlight and then disappeared. The crisis in front of him was finally resolved. Lin Feng couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. However, his mood soon became serious again. The guy who escaped was definitely extremely terrifying. His identity was still a mystery, but he was obviously an extremely ancient existence. Fortunately, he had just been injured by his ancestor. He probably wouldn't come out to stir up trouble for a while. He still needed to quickly raise his realm. Only when he was strong enough. Only then could he deal with all the unknown situations. Lin Feng didn't like to entrust his fate to others. The feeling of being unable to resist the ugly face just now was hard for Lin Feng to accept. "Let's go inside and take a look," Lin Feng said. He urgently wanted to raise his strength, and refining the snow spirit bone fire was the best way. Lin Feng took the lead and walked inside. After the ugly face escaped, the atmosphere here became less oppressive. However, Lin Feng and the other two still didn't let down their guard. Maybe there were other dangers? There was nothing wrong with being careful. However, Lin Feng and the other two didn't encounter any danger for the rest of the journey. They couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Finally, they entered a deep and serene cave in the depths of the mountain. After passing through a long passage, the three of them arrived at the depths of the cave. In the depths of the cave, there was a huge stone room. Obviously, someone had built a cave for cultivation here. When Lin Feng arrived, he saw a cluster of flames burning in the center of the cave. That cluster of flames was very special. It was a white flame. Other flames were incomparably hot, but the aura emitted by this cluster of white flames was incomparably cold. Snow spirit bone fire. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. He had finally found the snow spirit bone fire. After seeing the snow spirit bone fire, Lin Feng suddenly felt extremely excited. He was finally going to break through to the Emperor Lord realm. Anyone would be excited when faced with a major turning point in their life, right? Lin Feng was naturally the same. In the cave, Lin Feng also saw 3 corpses in addition to the heaven fire. The heavenly flame hovered above one of the corpses, while the other 2 corpses lay not far from it. Among the 3 corpses, there were 2 male corpses and 1 female corpse. The corpse under the heavenly fire should be the owner of the heavenly fire, right? Who was this person? Who were the other 2 corpses? Their weapons fell to the ground. Had they experienced a great battle when they were alive? In the end, both sides would suffer and die. I originally thought that one of the 3 should be the previous incarnation of that ugly face, but now it seems like that's not the case. I wonder where that ugly face came from. Lin Feng couldn't help but think. He didn't stop at all. Instead, he quickly walked towards the snow spirit bone fire. As he gradually approached the snow spirit bone fire, Lin Feng felt that the surrounding temperature was getting colder and colder. His body actually began to freeze. Lin Feng circulated the heavenly fire and dissolved the coldness emitted by the snow spirit bone fire. Snow Lady and Supremacy Yuan Tian obviously didn't feel good either. Lin Feng said, "You guys can just retreat." Hearing this, the 2 women nodded. They didn't go too far forward. Instead, they retreated more than 10 meters. Lin Feng carefully approached the snow spirit bone fire. The reason why he was so careful was because Lin Feng knew that some heavenly flames would form fire spirits. If there were fire spirits, those heavenly flames were extremely terrifying, and they were very aggressive. If he wasn't careful, he might die under the attack of the heavenly flames. So, Lin Feng naturally had to be extremely careful when dealing with the heavenly flames. It was better to be safe than sorry. In history, countless peerless powerhouses had died because of a moment of carelessness. Lin Feng didn't want to see such a thing happen. Lin Feng gradually approached the snow spirit bone fire. When he was 3 meters away from the snow spirit bone fire, Lin Feng planned to collect the snow spirit bone fire. But at this moment, the snow spirit bone fire violently distorted. "Go to hell!" A cold voice came from within the snow spirit bone fire. Then, the snow spirit bone fire flew towards Lin Feng, wanting to envelop Lin Feng and then kill Lin Feng. It actually produced a fire spirit. Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. When Snow Lady came here, the snow spirit bone fire had yet to produce a spirit. Of course, It was also possible that it had already produced a spirit. It was just that when Snow Lady came here, the spirit of the snow spirit bone fire had yet to awaken. But now, the spirit of the snow spirit bone fire had already awakened. Fortunately, Lin Feng was already prepared. Therefore, when he saw the snow spirit bone fire flying towards him, the 6 heavenly fires in his body immediately flew out. Then, the 6 heavenly fires wrapped around Lin Feng. Lin Feng slapped his palm towards the snow spirit bone fire. Bang! A dull sound of collision rang out. The snow spirit bone fire was sent flying by Lin Feng's slap. Ah! 6 heavenly fires. You actually refined 6 heavenly fires. If I devour you, what level will I evolve into? The snow spirit bone fire cried out excitedly when it saw the 6 heavenly fires that Lin Feng took out. Snow Lady and Supremacy Yuan Tian behind Lin Feng also had an expression of disbelief. Heavenly fires were precious. Refining one type of heavenly fire was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. What was more, refining 6 types of heavenly fire. Lin Feng had refined 6 types of heavenly fire. It was unbelievable. Snow Spirit World Destruction. The Snow Spirit Heavenly Fire roared. Suddenly, endless flames surged out. The flames formed an independent world. It directly swallowed Lin Feng, Snow Lady, and Supremacy Yuan Tian into this world. This was a world formed by the Snow Spirit Bone Fire. In this world, its combat strength reached the pinnacle. It wanted to use this world to kill Lin Feng and then devour Lin Feng's 6 heavenly fires. Burning wrath of the heavens, Lin Feng sneered. He used his self-created technique, burning wrath of the heavens. Lin Feng condensed the 6 heavenly fires into a ball of fire. Lin Feng took out the ball of fire. Next, the ball of fire turned into a fire dragon in midair. The fire dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws, roaring. Chapter 45-25. The power of the fire dragon formed by the 6 heavenly fires was naturally terrifying. Therefore, when the snow spirit bone fire saw the fire dragon formed by the 6 heavenly fires pouncing towards it, it didn't dare to take the fire dragon's attack head-on. The snow spirit bone fire quickly disappeared. Its whereabouts were unknown. When Lin Feng tried to search for the snow spirit bone fire with his divine will, he couldn't find the whereabouts of the snow spirit bone fire. He didn't know where the snow spirit bone fire had run off to. Lin Feng guessed that the snow spirit bone fire should have merged with this world. It was at this moment that countless icy creatures were formed in this world. These ice creatures were all creatures formed by the snow spirit bone fire. The ice creatures formed an army and charged towards Lin Feng and the other 2. Explode! Lin Feng shouted coldly. The fire dragon formed by the 6 heavenly fires directly exploded. The destructive power surged in all directions. Then, it violently bombarded the crystal wall of this world. Kacha-kacha sounds were heard. The crystal wall of this world couldn't withstand the self-destruction of the fire dragon. It directly shattered. The snow spirit bone fire revealed its form. How is this possible? The snow spirit bone fire cried out unwillingly. It originally thought that with the world it formed, it could deal with Lin Feng. But things didn't go as it wished. The world couldn't cause any harm to Lin Feng. Instead, the world was destroyed by Lin Feng. The snow spirit bone fire was severely injured. At this moment, Lin Feng took out the gourd of creation. The gourd of creation flew above the snow spirit bone fire and opened the stopper. A powerful devouring power surged out continuously. The gourd of creation began to devour the snow spirit bone fire. The gourd of creation. It's the gourd of creation. The snow spirit bone fire cried out in surprise. This guy was quite knowledgeable. It even knew the gourd of creation. A large amount of fire surged out of the snow spirit bone fire. Then, the flames turned into something that resembled a whip. That thing that looked like a long whip. It struck the gourd of fortune hard and sent it flying. Then, the snow spirit bone fire dashed outside, wanting to escape. This guy saw that he was no match for Lin Feng. Therefore, he planned to escape. However, Lin Feng did not give the snow spirit bone fire a chance to escape. He immediately summoned 6 devouring black holes. The 6 black holes instantly merged into one. Then, it enveloped the snow spirit bone fire. You want to devour me? I won't let you succeed. The snow spirit bone fire roared furiously. It began to struggle violently, trying to break free from the restraints of Lin Feng's devouring black hole. But then, Lin Feng's gourd of fortune flew over. The gourd of fortune emitted a powerful devouring power. It directly devoured the snow spirit bone fire. Then, the gourd of fortune stopper was plugged into the mouth of the gourd. The snow spirit bone fire was successfully suppressed. After doing all this, Lin Feng could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The snow spirit bone fire had been suppressed. Next, he had to find a place to refine the snow spirit bone fire. Lin Feng planned to check the identities of the 3 dead people. He took off their storage rings. Then, he used his divine consciousness to invade them. Lin Feng found that their storage rings were damaged. It was a pity. If they were not damaged, with their strength, there should be many good things in their storage rings. However, since they were damaged, there was nothing he could do. Some things could not be forced. Lin Feng naturally understood this. Therefore, he would not force these things. Lin Feng searched the 3 people's bodies, but didn't find anything. Therefore, the cause of their deaths was a mystery. Lin Feng said, "We can't stay here for long. Let's go." The 2 girls nodded. They left with Lin Feng. Soon, they left the area. Lin Feng was going to try to break through to the Emperor realm. When he broke through, he would have to undergo the tribulation. The underground world was not suitable for undergoing the tribulation. Therefore, Lin Feng decided to leave the underground world for the time being. He, Snow Lady, and Supremacy Yuan Tian left the underground world and came to the forest outside. Then, Lin Feng went into seclusion. The relationship between Snow Lady and Supremacy Yuan Tian was relatively cold. They didn't communicate much in private. Lin Feng could only smile wryly in response. Lin Feng sat cross-legged. Then, he took out the creation gourd. Lin Feng's divine consciousness invaded the creation gourd. Then, he heard the curses of the snow spirit bone fire. "Brat, I curse you to die a horrible death. Brat, I curse you to end up 10 times more miserable than me." This guy seemed to know that Lin Feng did not intend to let it go. Therefore, it did not beg for mercy. All kinds of curses came out at Lin Feng. Death is at hand. If you want to curse, then curse. Anyway, you won't have the chance to curse me in the future, Lin Feng said indifferently. Then, Lin Feng began to summon the 6 heavenly fires. The 6 heavenly fires entered the creation gourd one after another. Under Lin Feng's control, the 6 heavenly fires assisted the creation gourd and began to refine the soul of the snow spirit bone fire. Lin Feng naturally would not let the soul of the snow spirit bone fire survive, refining the other party's soul to death once and for all. Moreover, this guy's mouth was too smelly. The moment it came up, it cursed Lin Feng. How could Lin Feng let it live? 3 days later, the soul of the snow spirit bone fire was refined to death. In the end, only the purest heavenly fire origin was left. Lin Feng began to refine the snow spirit bone fire's heavenly fire origin. The snow spirit bone fire had just been devoured by Lin Feng. Lin Feng discovered that his body was beginning to freeze. This time, the ice was freezing from the inside out. Lin Feng discovered that his internal organs, bones, and blood were rapidly freezing. Lin Feng felt that his soul was about to be frozen. The snow spirit bone fire was an extremely cold fire. This kind of flame was very terrifying. If he was the slightest bit careless, he might be seriously injured or even killed by the snow spirit bone fire. Lin Feng was naturally very clear about this point. From the beginning to the end, he had never underestimated the snow spirit bone fire. Just as his body began to freeze, the 6 heavenly fires were activated by Lin Feng. Lin Feng's body had long adapted to the 6 heavenly fires. So, at this moment, under Lin Feng's control, the 6 heavenly fires protected Lin Feng's body. His body that was gradually freezing began to quickly unfreeze. Under the suppression of the 6 heavenly fires, the snow spirit bone fire was finally suppressed in Lin Feng's dantian, unable to move. Then, Lin Feng began to refine the snow spirit bone fire. Refining the heavenly fire was not easy, even though Lin Feng had already refined the heavenly fire 6 times. However, when refining the new heavenly fire, it was still very difficult, especially since this kind of heavenly fire was very different from the previous 6 types of heavenly fire. However, the heavens did not disappoint those who worked hard. Lin Feng spent half a month's time and finally succeeded in refining the snow spirit bone fire, and the mana in Lin Feng's body began to surge crazily. Between his brows, the light of calamity flickered, and outside, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Chapter 45-26. Lin Feng opened his eyes. He walked out of the cave where he was in seclusion. At this moment, Snow Lady and Supremacy Yuan had already walked out. They looked at the sea of lightning above the 9 heavens and couldn't help but feel shocked. Even though it was a perfected immortal tribulation, it was probably not as terrifying as this, right? Lin Feng's tribulation transcendence. Wasn't it too terrifying? Lin Feng flew towards the center of the heavenly tribulation. In the following period of time, Lin Feng began to transcend the tribulation. The Imperial Lord Tribulation was very terrifying. Even with Lin Feng's powerful methods, it was extremely difficult for him to transcend the Imperial Lord Tribulation. High-grade immortal stones piled up like mountains burned. They provided Lin Feng with the boundless energy he needed to transcend the tribulation. 1 day, 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, 40 days, 50 days, 60 days. Lin Feng actually spent a total of 60 days transcending the tribulation this time. Lin Feng didn't even know how many tribulations he had transcended. Several times, Lin Feng almost thought that he was dead for sure. But he didn't give up. He persevered. The final result was not bad. Lin Feng passed the most difficult period. He successfully withstood all the tribulations. Lin Feng lay on the ground, panting heavily. Snow Lady and Supremacy Yuan flew over. Seeing that Lin Feng was still alive, they finally heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Feng, Snow Lady, and Supremacy Yuan left. He found a place to enter seclusion for a few days and adjusted his condition to the best. Lin Feng's realm stopped at the first level of the Imperial Lord realm. Lin Feng still had the source energy of a quasi-true immortal, but Lin Feng planned to stabilize his cultivation before refining the quasi-true immortal source energy. After all, he had just broken through. If he continued to refine the quasi-true immortal source energy to increase his cultivation, it might cause his foundation to be unstable. This wasn't what Lin Feng wanted to see. Other than that, Lin Feng still had one more thing to do. This matter was very important to him. That was to practice the 8-9 mysteries. Calculating the time, it was time to continue improving the 8-9 mysteries. However, it was not easy to improve the 8-9 mysteries. It required luck. Lin Feng's 8-9 mysteries was still at the stage where he could only cultivate but not use it. This was because the side effects of the 8-9 arcane art were too great. It would devour Lin Feng's lifespan. Therefore, Lin Feng would not use the 8-9 mysteries. However, Lin Feng had no choice but to cultivate the 8-9 arcane art, because it was the end of the 8-9 mysteries. If the 8-9 arcane art didn't make a breakthrough, he would die. Lin Feng did a rough calculation and found that the 8-9 mysteries still had more than 10 years left. Therefore, although he was in a hurry to break through, but there was still some time to find a place to break through, Lin Feng planned to return to the Sin domain, because Lin Feng still wanted to inquire about the descendants of Emperor Shun. Although Lin Feng had previously received news that the descendants of Emperor Shun had been annihilated by the Sacred Army. However, were there any descendants of Emperor Shun who had escaped? Lin Feng naturally hoped so. The descendants of the ancient sacred emperor of the human race should not be cut off just like that. Young master, I plan to leave for a period of time. I want to go to a place. Perhaps that place. It can allow me to quickly recover to the true immortal realm. Supremacy Yuan looked at Lin Feng and said. She didn't say where that place was, and Lin Feng didn't ask. However, since Supremacy Yuan said that that place could allow her cultivation to recover to the true immortal realm, Lin Feng naturally supported Supremacy Yuan going to that place. Because, after Supremacy Yuan broke through to the true immortal realm, She would be of great help to Lin Feng. All right, you go, Lin Feng said. Thank you, young master. When I break through to the true immortal realm, I will come to find you. Supremacy Yuan said. Lin Feng nodded. Supremacy Yuan didn't stay for long. She quickly left. Lin Feng looked at Snow Maiden and said, Will you leave with me? I. Snow Maiden hesitated. She hesitated. Do you have any concerns? Lin Feng asked. Snow Maiden said, Yes. Lin Feng grabbed Snow Maiden's hand and said, You don't have to worry about anything. I know that some things might have happened in the past that you don't want to recall. When you want to tell me, I am willing to listen. Snow Maiden's face reddened as Lin Feng grabbed her hand. She bit her lip and finally nodded. Lin Feng didn't know that because of him, many people in the world of the immortals had been astonished. Of course, even if Lin Feng knew about this, he wouldn't take it to heart. Since he was already in the Undying Realm, he would definitely cause trouble there. A month later, Lin Feng and Snow Maiden saw a village appear in the mountain range in front of them. It was a simple and unadorned mountain village. There were a few hundred families living there. There were many such villages in the Sin Realm. In fact, it wasn't just the Sin Realm. Villages could be seen everywhere in the other realms as well, because most of the Undying Realm was covered in dense forests. There were many villages scattered in the forests. Let's go to the village to rest, Lin Feng said to Snow Maiden. Snow Maiden didn't want to interact with outsiders. However, she was now with Lin Feng. She was trying her best to adapt to living like a normal person. When Lin Feng and Snow Maiden appeared in the village, some children who were playing outside saw them. Fairy sister. Look, it's Fairy sister. A child pointed at Snow Maiden. Snow Maiden was very beautiful. She was dressed in snow-white clothes. She had a beautiful face. She had a tall and slender figure. She indeed looked like a fairy who didn't belong to the mortal world. Such a peerless beauty, in the eyes of these children, was a fairy sister. The children weren't afraid of people. They ran over and looked up at Lin Feng and Snow Maiden. Big brother, you're with Fairy sister? Who are you? Could you be Fairy brother? A 3- or 4-year-old girl asked innocently. Do you still need to ask? It must be brother immortal. Another older child said. The little girl continued asking, then, did Fairy brother kiss Fairy sister? Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This little girl was only 3 or 4 years old, but she already knew how to kiss? Children's words carried no harm. Children's words carried no harm. Please don't offend Snow Maiden. Lin Feng looked at Snow Maiden and found that she wasn't angry. She was just blushing. He had to admit that Snow Maiden looked very charming when she was blushing. At that moment, some villagers walked out of the village. A middle-aged cultivator said, Young master, young miss, these children are immature and have disturbed you. Please forgive them. Lin Feng smiled and said, It's fine. I think they're very cute and innocent. It's already late, so we're planning to stay in the village for the night. Would that be convenient? The middle-aged man said, Of course. Please follow us. Chapter 45-27. In the evening, the bonfire was burning. The villagers in the mountain village were busy. Many women were making fires to cook. The children, on the other hand, were running around the mountain village, having fun. The mountain village had its own hunting team. The hunting team would go out to hunt every day. Of course, they wouldn't go too far away, nor would they hunt beasts that were too powerful. Everything was done according to their abilities. There were also some young people cultivating in the valley not far away. Every day, there would be elders teaching them how to cultivate. The Undying Realm was a world where everyone cultivated. Even the most ordinary mountain village had no ordinary people. They would all cultivate. However, according to everyone's talent, their strength was also different. Occasionally, some powerful people would come out of the small mountain village. If they could join some ancient sects, their future achievements would be limitless. Usually, after such a powerful person came out, the residents of the mountain village would also move out. After all, they had someone to rely on. It wouldn't be a problem to buy a mansion in the city and settle down the villagers. The Snow Lady was playing with the children in the village. She was smiling very happily. Perhaps she hadn't smiled so happily in a long time. Although when these children invited the Snow Lady The Snow Lady wanted to reject them. The innocence of children. It could often purify the soul. It seemed that this sentence was true. Lin Feng chatted with a few men in the mountain village. The mountain village was called Xia Village. It was an extremely ancient mountain village. They had been rooted here for a long time. There were some cultivators with decent cultivation among their ancestors, but the strongest person was only at the venerable emperor level. Venerable emperors were naturally very powerful cultivators in the mortal world, but in the undying realm, cultivators of this level were not considered strong. Some of the ferocious beasts in the mountains and forests could easily kill sovereigns. Now, the most powerful person in Xia Village was the old village chief. The old village chief only had one leg left, and he was leaning on a walking stick. It was said that he fought with beasts when he was young. One of his legs was bitten off by a beast. The old village chief smoked a pipe and sat not far away, basking in the sun. He was a man of few words. He wondered if it was because he had lost his leg that he had become so quiet. Or had he always been like this? After dinner was ready, some people who had gone to train in the nearby valley came back to eat. Not long after, the hunting villagers also returned, carrying more than 10 ferocious beasts. They would only keep a portion of the beast's meat. The rest of the meat was preserved and sold in the city along with the fur. Then, he would exchange them for some daily necessities and cultivation resources. After dinner, Lin Feng and the Snow Maiden enjoyed the moonlight together. Lin Feng discovered that the old village chief had ordered people to set up the table. On the table, there were tributes laid out. All the villagers came out. They kowtowed to the offerings placed on the table. It looks like a sacrificial ceremony, but there's no statue. Why is that? The Snow Lady asked in confusion. Lin Feng said, maybe it's because of some taboo things, so they didn't put up the statue. After the ceremony, Lin Feng grabbed a young man's arm. This young man was called Xia Zhengyan, and he was the grandson of the old village chief. Xia Zhengyan's parents had passed away when he was young. Xia Zhengyan also had a brother called Xia Zhongjuan. Both of them were very hard-working in their cultivation, and they looked very simple and honest. Lin Feng asked, Zhengyan, what are you doing? Xia Zhengyan said, we are offering a sacrificial ceremony. Why didn't you put up the statue? Lin Feng asked. Xia Zhengyan said, this is a rule set by our ancestors, but I don't know why it's like this. Lin Feng couldn't get any useful information from Xia Zhengyan. Even the villagers didn't know the exact reason. In the past, some people might have known the reason, but now, it was all a mystery. However, this custom, the Xia family village had maintained this custom until now. After the sacrificial ceremony, the old village chief ordered people to carry out the 5 ancient cauldrons. There were many spiritual herbs in the cauldrons, and there was a pile of firewood below. After pouring some water, the old village chief ordered people to light the firewood. In an instant, the firewood burned fiercely. The scorching flames burned the cauldrons. Gradually, the herbs in the cauldrons dissolved. They turned into medicinal liquid. Come, let's all soak, the old village chief said. This was a medicinal bath, a very common method. It was mainly used by young cultivators to temper their bodies. Lin Feng had also tried the medicinal bath when he was young. Even now, the memory was still fresh in his mind. The medicinal bath was a painful memory. His body was scalded until his skin was torn open. Then, the medicinal liquid was quickly absorbed by his body, and his injuries healed quickly. Of course, some big powers wouldn't let their children suffer like this, because those big powers had many amazing cultivation resources. The effect was many times better than medicinal baths. Medicinal baths were only used by some small powers. Many children wailed. They turned around and ran. Catch them all, the old village chief said. Then, many adult villagers opened their mouths and chased after the escaping children. In the village, children from 6 to 13 years old had to soak in medicinal baths. Because this was the stage of laying the foundation, they let those children cry and scream. But it was useless. They were caught and brought back. Then, they were thrown into the cauldrons. If anyone wanted to crawl out, the old village chief would use the stick in his hand to hit them on the head. Many adults laughed in schadenfreude, because they had also been through this. Some fathers even specialized in tricking their sons. After the old village chief's stick hit them, they would add another stick. The old village chief was very strict, because this was for their own good. The undying world was very dangerous, and they had to make themselves stronger. This way, their chances of survival would be greater. Lin Feng revealed a surprised expression, because he discovered that the 5 ancient cauldrons seemed to be somewhat extraordinary. He walked towards the 5 ancient cauldrons. Then, he carefully observed the 5 ancient cauldrons. The 5 ancient cauldrons indeed had a very ancient origin, and many of the patterns on them were already extremely blurry. Time had erased the patterns on them. However, Lin Feng still saw some extraordinary places on the 5 ancient cauldrons. The faintly visible patterns contained the power of the great Tao. It doesn't look like an ordinary cauldron. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He felt that the 5 ancient cauldrons might have a great origin. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and released a strand of mana. When Lin Feng's mana surged into the ancient cauldron in front of him, the runes on the ancient cauldron flickered slightly. Then, a shocking scene appeared. A small golden dragon appeared in the spirit liquid inside the ancient cauldron. The small golden dragon swam back and forth around the ancient cauldron. Chapter 45-28. A small golden dragon. Yi Futian murmured. The children in the ancient cauldron exclaimed. They felt very strange and wanted to reach out to grab the small golden dragon. But in the end, they gave up. In their subconscious, dragons were relatively powerful and noble creatures. In particular, the small golden dragon in front of them was like a miniature version of the Eastern divine dragon. Therefore, they did not dare to be too presumptuous. The others rushed over when they heard this. The old village chief exclaimed, "Is the rumor true? The ancient cauldron actually manifested a small golden dragon." Lin Feng looked at the old village chief and asked, "Old village chief, what rumor are you talking about?" The old village chief said, "It is said that these 5 ancient cauldrons are called the 5 dragon immortal cauldrons. Our ancestors specially created them for the children of the clan to temper their bodies. However, over the years, our clan has tried many times, but these 5 ancient cauldrons have never undergone any changes." At this moment, the small golden dragon in the ancient cauldron spewed out golden energy. The golden energy was also absorbed by the children's bodies. The children, who had been scalded until their flesh was lacerated, cried out in comfort. "It's like soaking in a hot spring. It's really comfortable." The children flopped around in the ancient cauldron with a look of enjoyment on their faces. The children in the other 4 ancient cauldrons had envious gazes. They looked at Lin Feng eagerly. "Big brother, help us," one of the older children pleaded. Lin Feng walked forward and injected his magic power into the other 4 ancient cauldrons. Instantly, the runes on the other 4 ancient cauldrons seemed to have come to life. Next, a small golden dragon appeared in the other 4 ancient cauldrons. These small golden dragons were the same as the one in the first ancient cauldron. After circling the ancient cauldron a few times, they began to spit out golden energy. After the golden energy was absorbed by them, the pain disappeared. On the contrary, each of them seemed to be full of vigor. Obviously, they had obtained great benefits. Seeing this scene, the old village chief was very excited. Because the rumor was true, these 5 ancient cauldrons were really extraordinary. However, soon, the old village chief was puzzled. Why couldn't they activate the ancient cauldrons? However, Lin Feng was able to activate it. "Lin Gongzi, can you tell me how to activate the ancient cauldron?" the old village chief asked. Lin Feng said, "I injected my magic power into it, and the ancient cauldron was activated. But you guys couldn't activate the ancient cauldron. It's really strange. You just need to input your magic power? It's actually that simple?" The old village chief felt that it was inconceivable. Lin Feng nodded and said, "That is indeed the case. Let me think of a way to activate these 5 ancient cauldrons. Many thanks for young master's kindness." The old village head hurriedly thanked Lin Feng. "Elder, you don't have to be so polite," Lin Feng said. He felt that the key to activating the ancient cauldron might lie in the incomplete carvings. Because the ancient cauldron was badly damaged, The villagers were unable to activate it. However, Lin Feng did not know why he was able to activate the ancient cauldron. Lin Feng did not understand this matter. Lin Feng planned to repair the incomplete carvings on the 5 ancient cauldrons. With Lin Feng's methods, he was not sure if he could do it, but Lin Feng would try. After the children finished tempering their bodies, Lin Feng ordered people to move the 5 ancient cauldrons to his residence. At night, Lin Feng began to study the missing carvings on the 5 ancient cauldrons. These carvings were not particularly complicated, but they were very ancient. These were the runes that the human experts had imprinted on them. The carvings on the 5 ancient cauldrons were almost exactly the same. Back then, the cultivator who forged the 5 ancient cauldrons must have forged 5 identical ancient cauldrons in one go. Thus, Lin Feng found a breakthrough point. Although the carvings on the 5 ancient cauldrons were already damaged, however, the carvings on the cauldrons were different. Therefore, Lin Feng imprinted the carvings on the 5 ancient cauldrons that were still intact on 5 pieces of white paper. Then, he compared them. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised to find that the carvings on the 5 pieces of white paper overlapped in many places, and the missing carvings could also be filled in. Of course, it was not realistic to completely restore these carvings to their original appearance. However, Lin Feng's current level of array formation was already very high, and there were places that could not be restored. Lin Feng began to deduce by himself. After a night of hard work, Lin Feng restored the carvings on the 5 ancient cauldrons of the past. Although there were some changes, however, the problem was not too big. Lin Feng followed the restored carvings and imprinted them on an ancient cauldron. Then, he called the old village chief. Let the old village chief try to activate the ancient cauldron. If he succeeded, Lin Feng would continue to restore the carvings on the other 4 ancient cauldrons. If he failed, he would only destroy one ancient cauldron. After the old village chief's magic power poured into the ancient cauldron, the ancient cauldron's carvings immediately recovered. Inside the ancient cauldron, a small golden dragon appeared. It's really a success. After seeing this scene, the old village chief was extremely excited. The ancient cauldron left behind by his ancestor had finally recovered its former glory. This made him feel very gratified. "Old man, I will soon restore the other 4 ancient cauldrons," Lin Feng said. The old village chief said, "Little friend, it's not too late to rest and do it later. Don't tire yourself out. We're not in a hurry." Lin Feng said with a smile, "It's fine. I'm not tired." The old village chief left Lin Feng's place because he was afraid of disturbing Lin Feng. Lin Feng continued to repair the other 4 ancient cauldrons. The other 4 ancient cauldrons were quickly repaired by Lin Feng. The old village chief ordered people to carry the 5 ancient cauldrons to the empty space in the middle of the village. Then, like before, he placed the medicinal herbs, poured water, and lit the fire. Many children no longer ran away, because when the ancient cauldron was activated, a small dragon would appear inside. They would soak in a medicinal bath. It was incomparably comfortable. After the children were done soaking in the medicinal bath, the older Xiazongyan, Xiazongjuan, and the others took off their clothes, leaving only their underwear on. Then, they entered the cauldron to soak in the medicinal bath. Every one of them had an expression of extreme enjoyment. They lamented in their hearts. Why didn't they receive such treatment when they were young? If Big Brother Lin Feng had come a few years earlier, they wouldn't have to suffer from the medicinal bath every day. That night, Lin Feng, who was resting, opened his eyes. This was because he felt that something was not right. Lin Feng walked out. Looking into the distance, he saw that in the depths of the mountain range, there was actually an incomparably huge blood-colored ancient tree. The blood-colored ancient tree's branches were swaying, but soon, the blood-colored ancient tree's figure disappeared. "What's that?" Lin Feng could not help but frown. He felt that the blood-colored ancient tree was definitely not simple. Perhaps the place where the blood-colored ancient tree was located hid a huge secret. Chapter 45-29. "Young master, are you still awake?" the village chief asked as he walked over to Lin Feng. "Elder, aren't you awake as well?" Lin Feng asked. The village chief said, "I'm getting old, so I need less sleep." Lin Feng thought of the blood-colored tree that had just disappeared. Perhaps he could ask the village chief about it. Perhaps the village chief knew something about it. Asked Lin Feng. Mister, do you know anything about that blood-red tree? Asked Lin Feng. The village chief said, that blood-colored tree is located in a blood-colored mountain range in the depths of the forest. It wasn't that big, and it was just a projection. Normally, the blood-colored tree wouldn't show itself, but that's not always the case. Occasionally, the blood-colored tree would show signs similar to what you saw earlier. Elder, have you been there before? Lin Feng asked. The village chief shook his head. When I was young, I wanted to take a look, but when I thought of some rumors from my ancestors, I gave up on the idea. Oh, rumors from your ancestors? What kind of rumors did your ancestors leave behind? Lin Feng asked curiously. My ancestors said, that place is very ominous. It's a cursed place. They told us not to go there no matter what. The village chief said. In truth, Lin Feng felt that the village chief's ancestors must have been very extraordinary. This could be deduced from the ancient cauldron they had left behind. However, it was clear that the village chief's bloodline had completely declined. That was why, over the years, no experts had emerged from this bloodline. Elder, may I know which bloodline of the human race you belong to? Lin Feng asked curiously. The village chief smiled bitterly. Young master, you're exaggerating. How could we dare to say which bloodline we belong to? Our bloodline is only of mortal blood and mortal physique. The strongest expert we've produced in the past was only at the sovereign realm. Lin Feng didn't say anything else. Their bloodline had already forgotten a part of their history. As such, it was very difficult to find out who their ancestors were. Only someone who had awakened their bloodline would be able to find out. However, it was clear that no one had awakened their ancestral bloodline after all these years. Tomorrow, I plan to have a look, Lin Feng said. Young master, please don't be rash. That place is very scary. Don't risk going to that place. The old village chief said. Don't worry. If I encounter any danger, I can retreat in time, Lin Feng said. The next day, Lin Feng told the Snow Maiden about this. He hoped that the Snow Lady would stay in the mountain village and not risk her life with him. However, the Snow Maiden didn't agree. She insisted on going with Lin Feng. Seeing the Snow Maiden's insistence, Lin Feng agreed. Big brother Lin, be careful, Xia Zhongyan and Xia Zhongjuan warned. They liked to ask Lin Feng questions about their cultivation, and Lin Feng would patiently answer them. Lin Feng liked their hardworking attitude. Sometimes, they would go hunting with the uncles in the village. They were only around 20 years old, but their cultivations were already quite good. One of them was a giant god, while the other was a heavenly god. Of course, the undying realm was different from the mortal realm. In addition, it was a golden age for cultivation. There were many cultivators who became emperors before 20 years old. However, the resources that these people received were incomparable to the Xia brothers. The reason why they were able to break through to this realm at the age of 20 was firstly because of their talent and secondly because of their hard work. I'll be careful, Lin Feng said. Then, he and the Snow Maiden flew in the direction of the blood-colored mountain range. The blood-colored mountain range was more than 50 miles away from the Xia family village. With Lin Feng's speed, he could reach it in less than 15 minutes. Not long later, Lin Feng and the Snow Maiden arrived outside the blood-colored mountain range. The blood-colored mountain range was filled with a terrifying aura. There were extremely powerful restrictions in the air. After sensing the powerful restrictions in the blood-colored mountain range, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Although he hadn't entered yet, he could already sense how terrifying the restrictions were. Wait for me here. I'll go in and take a look myself, Lin Feng said. I'll go in with you, the Snow Maiden said. Lin Feng said, I'm afraid that I won't be able to take care of you. I should be the one taking care of you, the Snow Maiden said. Lin Feng said, your cultivation level is indeed much higher than mine. However, you're far inferior to me in terms of formations. The restrictions in this place are extremely terrifying. We have to deal with them carefully. Otherwise, who knows what terrifying things will happen. If you go in with me and encounter danger, the two of us will be too big of a target. Right now, you waiting for me outside is the best choice. If I really run into danger, I will take the initiative to retreat. The Snow Maiden also knew that Lin Feng's method was the best. She gave up on the idea of going in. The Snow Maiden nodded and said, "All right, then I won't go in. I'll wait for you outside." Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief when the Snow Maiden agreed. Convincing the Snow Maiden wasn't an easy task. He walked into the blood-colored mountain range. A blood-colored mist pervaded the blood-colored mountain range. No one knew how this blood-colored mountain range was formed. The restrictions in the blood-colored mountain range were extremely terrifying. There were even some restrictions floating in the air. Any cultivator who entered had to be extremely careful. If they came into contact with any of the restrictions, the consequences would be extremely terrifying. It was even possible for him to die. Lin Feng was very clear about this. Hence, Lin Feng had always been very careful. There were a total of 3 mountains in the mountain range. Lin Feng didn't see the ancient blood-colored tree on the first mountain. Lin Feng crossed the first mountain and arrived between the first and second mountains. This was a huge basin. In the basin, there was a blood-colored pool. Lin Feng was shocked. When he saw the blood-colored pool, his pupils contracted violently. Could it be that the pool was formed by blood? Lin Feng walked towards the blood-colored pool. Before long, Lin Feng arrived beside the blood-colored pool. He took a closer look and realized that the pool wasn't made of blood. It was a rather strange liquid. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and touched the liquid. In a flash, something terrifying happened. The blood-colored liquid started to corrode Lin Feng's palm. Lin Feng was given a huge fright when he saw this. This was too strange. What the hell was this blood-colored liquid? How could it corrode his palm? Luckily, Lin Feng's physical body was strong enough. If it were anyone else, their palms would have been reduced to white bones by now. Author's note: please recommend monthly tickets. Chapter 45-30. Lin Feng frowned. The liquid in this pool was so strange. It was really strange. He didn't know what this strange liquid was. At this time, Lin Feng suddenly found that his 8-9 Mysteries was actively running. What was going on? The 8-9 Mysteries was actively running. Could it be that the liquid in this pool could make the 8-9 Mysteries evolve? Thinking of this, Lin Feng's face showed a surprised expression. He had been looking for an opportunity to make the 8-9 Mysteries breakthrough. But how difficult was it to make the breakthrough? Lin Feng was very clear about this. But now it seemed that he had found a way to make the 8-9 Mysteries breakthrough. He just didn't know if it was really as he thought. Lin Feng decided to try running the 8-9 Mysteries to see if it could absorb the energy contained in the blood-colored liquid in the pool. When the 8-9 Mysteries was running, something amazing happened. The energy contained in the pool quickly gathered toward Lin Feng. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng couldn't help but be overjoyed. It could actually devour the energy in the pool. When he wanted to sleep, someone immediately gave him a pillow. Lin Feng began to absorb the very strange energy. The reason why the liquid had such a strong corrosive effect was because of the extremely strange energy. When the energy was absorbed by Lin Feng's body began to corrode. Lin Feng felt as if he had been thrown into a highly concentrated poison. His body was about to be dissolved. This feeling was terrifying and terrible, and his body also felt an unprecedented pain. That kind of pain was simply unbearable. But Lin Feng kept persevering. What kind of pain had he not experienced? So, Lin Feng could endure any kind of pain. As the strange energy was constantly being devoured by the 8-9 Mysteries, the liquid in the pool became clearer and clearer. In the end, all the strange energy in the blood-colored liquid was absorbed by Lin Feng, and Lin Feng's 8-9 Mysteries completed the breakthrough. His 8-9 arcane art had successfully broken through to the 5th level. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. He had finally broken through to the 5th level. After breaking through to the 5th level of the 8-9 Mysteries, he no longer had to worry about the backlash from the 8-9 Mysteries. Of course, Lin Feng knew that the 8-9 mysterious art he practiced was an incomplete version of the 8-9 mysterious art. This 8-9 mysterious art was modified by Lord Turtle. Although it was heaven-defying, the price he had to pay after using it was too great. When Lord Tortoise asked Lin Feng to cultivate the 8-9 Mysteries, it was because he had an extremely important task for Lin Feng. Lin Feng was also aware of this. Only cultivators who had cultivated the 8-9 Mysteries art were qualified to complete this kind of mission. The matter of Lord Turtle seemed to be extremely important. Now, Lin Feng had successfully cultivated the 8-9 mysterious art, but Lord Turtle had been captured by an unknown powerhouse. Lin Feng would never forget what happened that night. Thunder and lightning flashed, darkness fell, and a terrifying creature appeared and chained Lord Turtle. Then Lord Turtle was captured alive. Lord Turtle was too important to Lin Feng. In Lin Feng's life, he played an extremely important role in Lin Feng's cultivation. Therefore, Lin Feng wanted to save Lord Turtle very much. However, for now, Lin Feng hadn't inquired about Lord Turtle. I don't know where Master is being locked up. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. Then he calmed down. After cultivating the 8-9 mysterious art to the 5th level, Lin Feng could finally relax for the time being. Then Lin Feng planned to continue to go deeper. He hadn't seen the blood-colored ancient tree yet. He hadn't explored the secrets of this place. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't plan to leave for the time being. As Lin Feng was about to walk deeper into the forest, suddenly, Lin Feng seemed to see something at the bottom of the pool. It was a blood-red thing. Lin Feng waved his hand, and a powerful suction force surged out. Suddenly, the blood-red thing in the pool flew out. Lin Feng found that it was a crystal. It was Lin Feng's first time seeing a blood-red crystal. When Lin Feng looked at the blood-red crystal, he saw a strange light. Lin Feng's face revealed an extremely shocked expression, because Lin Feng found that there was an eyeball sealed inside the blood-red crystal. That's right, it was an eyeball. A blood-red eyeball. It was very strange. Could it be that the blood-red color of the pool has something to do with the blood-red eyeball sealed in this crystal? Lin Feng couldn't help but think. He felt that it should be like this. Lin Feng tried to use his divine sense to sense the blood-red eyeball, but Lin Feng's divine sense was blocked by an invisible force. Lin Feng felt that this blood-red eyeball was too strange. He kept the blood-red eyeball in time and space. Then, Lin Feng continued to walk inside. Lin Feng crossed the 2nd mountain and arrived at the middle of the 2nd and 3rd mountain. Here, Lin Feng saw the blood-red ancient tree. What surprised him was that the blood-red ancient tree wasn't very tall. It was only about 2 meters tall. However, the tree trunk was strong and powerful. The bark was like dragon scales. The entire ancient tree gave people the feeling of a strong dragon body. This feeling was so strange, but so strong. Therefore, Lin Feng frowned deeply. Lin Feng tried to get close to the blood-red ancient tree, but it swayed gently. Bang! An invisible force slammed into Lin Feng's body, sending Lin Feng flying. Clang! Lin Feng's body smashed into a rock wall. He felt intense pain all over his body. That was because that invisible force was simply too powerful. Lin Feng's body almost broke apart from the impact. Damn! This ancient tree is so powerful? Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. The ancient tree's strength was beyond his imagination. Lin Feng had thought that he could easily get close to the ancient tree. What is the origin of this ancient blood-red tree? It doesn't look particularly tall. Was it originally this tall, or is it still a young tree? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He felt that this ancient blood-red tree was extraordinary, so Lin Feng wanted to plant it in time and space. Lin Feng continued walking toward the ancient blood-red tree. This time, he was even more cautious. However, when Lin Feng was about 10 meters away from the ancient blood-red tree, it swayed gently again. Another invisible and intangible strength bombarded Lin Feng's body. Just like before, Lin Feng was once again blown away by the invisible and intangible strength. Chapter 45-31. What a scam! Lin Feng couldn't help but wail gloomily. It was just a blood-colored ancient tree, and it might even be a sapling. However, it was so terrifying that even he couldn't get close to it. It was too strange. At this moment, blood-colored energy was emitting from the blood-colored ancient tree. The energy coiled around the blood-colored ancient tree. It seemed to be protecting the blood-colored ancient tree. Could it be that this blood-colored ancient tree has developed its own spirituality? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He kept feeling that there was something strange about the blood-colored ancient tree. Not only was it powerful, but there was also something strange about it. Lin Feng felt that the blood-colored ancient tree might really contain a terrifying spirituality, which was why it knew how to attack him. Of course, this was all just his own guess. As for whether it was true or not, Lin Feng couldn't make a concrete judgment. How should I take this blood-colored ancient tree? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He wanted to take this blood-colored ancient tree, and he wouldn't give up so easily. However, how to obtain this blood-colored ancient tree was a very troublesome problem. This blood-colored ancient tree displayed all kinds of extraordinary characteristics. Moreover, Lin Feng couldn't get close to it at all. This was the most troublesome part. If he couldn't even get close to the blood-colored ancient tree, how could he take it? Lin Feng couldn't help but stroke his chin. What should he do next? At this moment, Lin Feng suddenly felt the world tree, builder tree, sapling in his dantian shake slightly. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Could the world tree sapling and the blood-colored ancient tree sense each other? Could it be the so-called connection of two hearts? Lin Feng tried to communicate with the world tree sapling. After sensing Lin Feng's divine will, the world tree sapling shook even more violently. It seemed to be responding to Lin Feng. "Little guy, can you let me take that blood-colored ancient tree?" Lin Feng asked. The world tree sapling seemed to understand Lin Feng's words and kept shaking its branches. He seemed to be nodding. Next, a ball of green energy escaped from the sapling of the world tree. That ball of green energy was very special. It contained boundless vitality. There seemed to be something else mixed in as well. Lin Feng felt that it was a message. Could it be a message from the world tree to the ancient blood tree? People could communicate with each other. Animals can also communicate with each other. Therefore, between the trees, could they actually communicate with each other? The green energy from the sapling of the world tree was all absorbed by the blood-colored ancient tree. The blood-colored ancient tree absorbed the green energy. The swaying became more and more intense. The blood-colored ancient tree seemed to be responding to the world tree sapling. Lin Feng tried to approach the blood-colored ancient tree again. Last time, Lin Feng was about 10 meters away from the ancient blood tree when he was attacked by it. Then, he was mercilessly sent flying. But it was different this time. Lin Feng arrived 10 meters away from the ancient blood tree and was not attacked by it. This made Lin Feng's face light up with joy. Could it be the world tree really communicated with the ancient blood tree just now? So, the ancient blood tree was no longer hostile to him? So, now that he was close to the ancient blood tree did not even attack him? Besides this explanation, there seemed to be no other reason to explain why the ancient blood tree did not attack him anymore. This made Lin Feng very happy, because Lin Feng saw the hope of getting the ancient blood tree. Although he did not know what kind of species the ancient blood tree was. However, Lin Feng knew how extraordinary the ancient blood tree was. Regardless of other things, he would take the ancient blood tree first. Maybe the ancient blood tree would play a key role in the future. Lin Feng was naturally looking forward to it. He continued to walk toward the ancient blood tree. The ancient blood tree did not attack Lin Feng. Finally, Lin Feng came to the ancient blood tree. The branches of the ancient blood tree swayed slightly, gently brushing Lin Feng's body. It was as if it was caressing Lin Feng. Lin Feng sensed that the blood-red ancient tree was friendly to him. This made Lin Feng very happy, because the ancient blood tree should have recognized him. This was much easier. As long as the ancient blood tree recognized him, this meant that Lin Feng had a good chance to take the ancient blood tree. From now on, the tree of world will be your partner. I will take you to all the mountains and rivers and let you see what the scenery of each world is like. Lin Feng said. The ancient blood tree swayed gently. It seemed to be responding to Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng did not understand the language of the tree tribe, so he did not know what the ancient blood tree was saying. Lin Feng tried to put the ancient blood tree into the time and space. However, at this time, the ancient blood tree turned into a ray of bloody light. Then it flew into Lin Feng's dantian. In the end, the ancient blood tree took root in Lin Feng's dantian. Lin Feng looked at his dantian. After seeing this scene, he was very shocked. Did the ancient blood tree want to be a partner with the tree of world? It seemed that the ancient blood tree must have an extraordinary origin. The harvest this time was too great. First, he cultivated the 8-9 arcane art to the 5th level. Then, he took the ancient blood tree. Lin Feng planned to leave this place. However, at this time, a slight fluctuation came from the depths. Therefore, the fluctuation was not strong, but Lin Feng still felt it. Lin Feng looked into the depths and saw a cave. That wave of energy just now seemed to have come from that cave. What is the fluctuation coming from? Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. He walked towards the cave. Perhaps he would be able to find some other treasures? Soon, Lin Feng came to the entrance of the cave. Lin Feng looked inside. He found that the inside of the cave was pitch black. He could not see anything. It seemed that this cave was quite deep. Lin Feng walked into the cave. This passage was very deep. Lin Feng walked in, and the sound of his footsteps could be heard. The rhythmic footsteps sounded a little strange in such a quiet environment. Lin Feng also felt that the passage was filled with an eerie and terrifying aura. After walking for about an hour, a huge belly of the mountain appeared in front of him. Lin Feng entered the belly of the mountain. When he entered, he saw that there were many skeletons scattered in the belly of the mountain. Many of the skeletons had a special color. For example, some of the skeletons were jade-colored while others were golden in color. Generally, only extremely powerful experts would have such a change in their skeletons. Clearly, the cultivators who died here had extraordinary backgrounds. Chapter 45-32. The cultivators who died here were all experts. Lin Feng was very puzzled. He didn't know how these experts died here. There was something strange about this matter. He walked inside and came in front of some skeletons. Then, he took off their storage rings. Lin Feng tried to sense their storage rings. There must be a lot of good things in the storage rings of these peerless experts. But it was a pity. When Lin Feng's godly awareness penetrated the man's ring, Lin Feng found that those storage rings were all damaged storage rings. It was completely impossible to get the things in those storage rings. Those storage rings had been destroyed by the power of time. Lin Feng didn't find it strange, because time was the most terrifying power. He had seen many storage rings destroyed by the power of time. In fact, it wasn't just storage rings. Sometimes, it was the same for people. They would be destroyed by the power of time. In the end, they would die. And the power of time was destined to be irresistible. Lin Feng took a closer look. He found that there should be more than a dozen skeletons here. Some of the skeletons still contained a trace of energy, but some of the skeletons had long decayed to an extreme extent. With a light bang, it seemed to be about to collapse. They weren't the same batch of cultivators who came in. There were some years in between. Seeing this situation, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. There were so many people, but they weren't the same batch of cultivators who came in. Perhaps they were divided into several batches, or even more than a dozen batches that entered at different times. Then, they all died here. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine. What kind of secret was hidden in this place? It was actually so terrifying. It was unbelievable. It made one turn pale with fright. Lin Feng planned to quickly search this place to see if there were any treasures left behind. Then, he would quickly leave this place. Suddenly, Lin Feng saw something under a skeleton. He quickly walked over and came to the side of the skeleton. Then, he picked up the thing. Lin Feng looked carefully and found that the thing he picked up was actually a golden seal. What is this golden seal? Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. Bang! At this moment, an invisible force swept over Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng was swept away by the invisible force, and then his body slammed into the rock wall. Lin Feng was shocked. There really was a terrifying existence hibernating here. Did all those dead cultivators die here because of this existence? Lin Feng hurriedly summoned his ruler's armor to protect himself. Just as the ruler's armor appeared, another wave of invisible power swept over Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng was sent flying again. However, Lin Feng, who was wearing the ruler's armor, felt much better than before. Hiding your head but showing your tail, get out here, Lin Feng shouted in a deep voice. However, the other party did not appear. An even stronger force slammed into Lin Feng's body. That force sent Lin Feng flying for the third time. This time, Lin Feng almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This existence was too terrifying. More importantly, this guy had been hiding in the dark. He did not know where he was. Ancient Buddha skeleton, come out. Lin Feng communicated with the ancient Buddha skeleton in the Chonglu Devil Palace. Lin Feng summoned the ancient Buddha skeleton. Then, endless holy light surged out of the skeleton. Namo Amitba. When Lin Feng's magic power poured into the ancient Buddha skeleton, the ancient Buddha skeleton began to speak golden words. Holy light lingered, and Buddhist light filled the sky. As the holy light and Buddhist light intertwined, the existence in the darkness could no longer hide. Lin Feng saw this existence. This was a creature that was entirely black in color. It stood upright on its hind legs. Its hands were like the palms of a devil. Its head was like a centipede and a mantis. It had a tail like a crocodile. It was ugly and ferocious. When Lin Feng saw this existence, his face could not help but become extremely ugly. A foreign creature. This existence was actually a foreign creature. When he was in the mortal world, Lin Feng had actually come into contact with foreign creatures many times. He had even killed many of them. However, those foreign creatures in the mortal world had often just broken out of the seal and their strength had fallen greatly. There was no way they could be compared to this foreign creature in front of him. Hee hee hee. This foreign creature let out a sinister laugh. It directly leaped up and charged towards Lin Feng. 3 pure 8 trigrams diagram. Lin Feng waved his hand. The 3 pure 8 trigrams diagram flew out. The 3 pure 8 trigrams diagram was extremely effective against foreign creatures. When the 3 pure 8 trigrams diagram flew out, it immediately collided fiercely with the foreign creature. The 3 pure 8 trigrams diagram, this supreme treasure, was actually sent flying by the foreign creature. This foreign creature's cultivation was just too powerful. It's useless. I've even killed a true immortal before, let alone you. The foreign creature let out a sinister laugh. It continued to pounce towards Lin Feng. The ancient Buddha skeleton struck out with a palm. Foreign ancestor's sacred fist? The foreign creature laughed sinisterly. He was fearless. He used the supreme divine ability passed down from the foreign world and collided with the ancient Buddha skeleton. The ancient Buddha skeleton was very powerful, but this foreign creature's cultivation was even more powerful. After all, the ancient Buddha skeleton was just a skeleton. Moreover, the ancient Buddha skeleton's true nemesis was in spirits and evil beings. It was not the foreign creature. Therefore, when the ancient Buddha skeleton collided with the foreign creature, the ancient Buddha skeleton was also unable to block the foreign creature's attack. After the foreign creature sent the ancient Buddha skeleton flying, the foreign creature then pounced towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng was its ultimate target. Lin Feng took out more than 10 powerful magic treasures and attacked the foreign creature. Those magic treasures contained unimaginable terrifying power. The power of each magic treasure was extremely heaven-defying. However, when those magic treasures were about to hit the foreign creature's body, the void runes around the foreign creature swirled. Those runes flew out. Then, many of Lin Feng's magic treasures were sent flying. The situation was naturally extremely bad for Lin Feng. Brat die. The foreign creature's sharp claws slashed over. Lin Feng felt threatened. The foreign creature in front of him was abnormally powerful. Lin Feng wanted to dodge, but it was already too late. The situation was extremely dangerous. Right at this moment, the golden seal in Lin Feng's hand. It actually emitted waves of intense fluctuations. I am the Demon Emperor, invincible in the world. Suddenly, a voice sounded from the golden seal. In the next moment, the golden seal revealed a man in an imperial robe. Chapter 45:33. The man in the imperial robe was very blurry, and his appearance could not be seen clearly. However, since he claimed to be a demon emperor, obviously, he was an existence comparable to an ancient saint emperor. There were not many demon emperors in the era of the titled gods. There was a famous demon emperor, and everyone should know about him. He was the demon emperor Tai. He He was the Demon Emperor who built the Heavenly Court with the Demon Emperor Dijun. There were also some other Demon Emperors, such as the Golden Rock Demon Emperor, the Sacred Battle Demon Emperor, and the Myriad Demon Emperor. They were all famous Demon Emperors in history. Of course, there were definitely some Demon Emperors. After all, there was a lot of missing history after the era of the titled gods. How is this possible? How are you still able to manifest yourself? When it saw the Demon Emperor, the foreign creature roared in shock. It could not even believe what it saw. The Demon Emperor looked at the foreign creature with an indifferent expression. Then, his body turned into a dazzling beam of light and shot towards the foreign creature. The foreign creature had a gloomy expression. It was very powerful, even when facing the Demon Emperor's attack. It still appeared very calm. This foreign creature also struck out with a palm, blasting towards the Demon Emperor. Bang! Then, when the two terrifying existences collided, a terrifying scene appeared. The surrounding void was torn apart. The laws of the undying world were so powerful that their attacks could actually crack the void of the undying world. From this, it could be seen how unbelievably powerful the attacks of these two people were. Lin Feng was also very shocked. The Demon Emperor was indeed a Demon Emperor, even though it was only an illusory figure that appeared. It was also ridiculously powerful. Bang! 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 The Demon Emperor and the foreign creature fought fiercely. Both sides collided again and again. Every time they collided, earth-shaking sounds of violent collisions could be heard. After all, the Demon Emperor was only an illusory figure of the Golden Seal. Therefore, it could not exist for long. After a series of battles, the Demon Emperor's strength had begun to decline greatly. Lin Feng also noticed this situation. Therefore, Lin Feng knew that he had to leave quickly. If he did not leave now, he would not be able to escape later. After Lin Feng put away his Dharma treasure, he quickly rushed outside. The foreign creature wanted to stop Lin Feng, but he was held back by the Demon Emperor. Damn it! The foreign creature couldn't help but roar angrily, sending a palm strike at the Demon Emperor. Lin Feng rushed into the passage and quickly left. After a short time, Lin Feng sensed a gloomy and terrifying chi behind him. "It's chasing after me," Lin Feng frowned. The foreign cultivators were chasing after them. It should have already destroyed the Demon Emperor Demon Emperoress. The foreign creature's speed was inconceivably fast. Lin Feng could clearly sense that the terrifying cultivator was getting closer and closer to him. Lin Feng used his speed to increase the speed of the deployment spell. But even so, the foreign creatures were still quickly approaching him. The main reason was because the foreign creature's strength was too great. So, the foreign creature's speed was also very fast. When Lin Feng was about 200 to 300 meters away from the exit, he was caught up by the foreign creature. The foreign creature appeared and said with a sinister smile, "Kid, you're dead. I'm going to eat your flesh and blood." As soon as he said that, the foreign creature pounced at Lin Feng. When the foreign creature pounced at Lin Feng, its speed also reached the peak. This guy's speed could actually increase again. Lin Feng could not help but be extremely shocked. The other side's creatures grasped some extremely strange and terrifying methods. No wonder when the foreign creatures invaded this era suffered such heavy losses. It was mainly because these foreign creatures were too powerful. They were so powerful that it made one's heart tremble. Heaven Patching Technique. When the foreign creature pounced at him, Lin Feng used the Heaven Patching Technique in time. His body disappeared in advance. Swoosh! With a flash of light, Lin Feng was already outside the cave when he appeared again. The foreign creature missed. The foreign creature wanted to rush out of the cave to chase after Lin Feng. But at this moment, runes surrounded the entrance of the cave. The foreign creature's body collided with the runes and was immediately bounced back by the runes. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng could finally heave a sigh of relief. The foreign creature seemed to have been sealed in the cave. Could it be a large foreign creature sealed by a certain expert who died in the cave? Or was it another expert? Lin Feng could not figure it out. He looked at the golden seal. This golden seal definitely hid a huge secret. But Lin Feng also knew that this was not the time to explore the secret of the golden seal. He had to leave the blood-colored mountain range first. Lin Feng walked out of the blood-colored mountain range and met up with the Snow Lady outside. Seeing Lin Feng come out safely, the Snow Lady was very happy. "Did you get anything?" the Snow Lady asked. "Of course. And I got a lot. Let's go back and talk," Lin Feng said. "Okay." The Snow Lady nodded. At the same time, Xia family village. Many children were sitting in the 5 ancient cauldrons and tempering their bodies. At this moment, dozens of cultivators flew over from afar. "Young master, look. The 5 ancient cauldrons in the village have 5 golden dragons. They are really extraordinary. The 5 ancient cauldrons are definitely precious treasures." Suddenly, a cultivator pointed at the Xia family village. "These mountain villagers actually have such precious treasures? It's like casting pearls before swine." The young master in the lead looked at the 5 ancient cauldrons with a shocked expression. Then, the group of people quickly flew towards the Xia family village and hovered above it. Seeing the sudden appearance of the group of people, the people of the Xia family village were naturally terrified. Although they had a certain level of strength, there was still a huge gap between them and these top experts. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were a bunch of ants. "Hand over the 5 ancient cauldrons," a cultivator said. This person was called Zhang Su. He was an emperor-level cultivator. Although he was not very powerful, he was clearly not someone the people of the Xia family village could compare to. Naturally, the young master did not need to do something as trivial as collecting the 5 ancient cauldrons. "Exalted immortals, although these 5 ancient cauldrons are passed down from our ancestors, they can only be used to temper the body. They have no other use. Please be magnanimous," the old village chief said with a pleading expression. "How dare you call these supreme-grade body-tempering immortal cauldrons ordinary cauldrons? Even immortals can use these ancient cauldrons," the young master in the lead said indifferently. "Old thing, hurry up and hand over the 5 ancient cauldrons. If you don't hand them over, do you think I won't destroy your village?" Zhang Su's eyes were filled with killing intent. Chapter 45-34. These people were naturally the type to kill without batting an eyelid. Therefore, when he heard that these people wanted to kill him, the old village chief's expression changed drastically. When the old village chief was young, he had gone out to train for a period of time, so he knew how ruthless these people were. Therefore, even though he did not want to hand over the 5 ancient cauldrons, however, for the lives of the entire village, the old village chief had no choice but to do so. "Hand it over. We'll hand it over," the old village chief said. "Grandfather, village chief." Many people looked at the old village chief. The ancient cauldrons were extraordinary. Perhaps they could change the fate of many children. Naturally, they did not want to hand over the ancient cauldrons. "Don't say any more. Hand over the ancient cauldrons," the old village chief berated, afraid that these villagers would say something wrong and suffer a calamity. These people would kill at the slightest disagreement. How could they give them a chance to explain? Many people gritted their teeth in hatred. However, no one had any other choice. They could only do as the old village chief said. The children who were soaking in the medicinal bath jumped out of the ancient cauldrons. Then, the 5 ancient cauldrons were collected by the leading young master. Then, this group of people quickly left. After leaving the village, the leading young master said, "These 5 ancient cauldrons are extraordinary. Why would such villagers have such ancient cauldrons? There is something fishy about this. If some experts in their clan joined the outside forces, or if some talented people were traveling outside, it would be an unstable factor. Zhang Su, go and get rid of them. Don't leave a single one alive. Kill them all. Yes, this subordinate will go and get rid of those lowly people," Zhang Su said and quickly left the group. Not long after, Zhang Su returned to the village. "Old village chief, that person is here again." Someone saw Zhang Su and said loudly. The old village chief led a group of people out. "The ancient cauldrons have been handed over to you. Is there anything else?" the old village chief asked. Zhang Su laughed sinisterly and said, "The ancient cauldrons are not bad. Our young master likes them very much. In order to thank you all, our young master asked me to come and send off your entire village." Hearing this, everyone's expression changed. Zhang Su rushed towards the old village chief and the others and slammed his palm over. All of you, escape. Escape as many people as you can. The old village chief shouted loudly. Then, he rushed towards Zhang Su. The old village chief also slapped Zhang Su. Bang! Both sides fiercely clashed with their palms. The old village chief was directly sent flying, vomiting a large mouthful of blood in midair. Old chief, let's fight it out with him. Many people saw that the village chief was beaten to the point of vomiting blood. Their eyes turned blood red. They rushed forward, wanting to fight Zhang Su to the death. Hurry up and leave. Do you want to see your village destroyed? The old village head shouted at the top of his lungs. He charged at Zhang Su again. The old village head's body began to burn. He was burning his own source to increase his combat strength. This was the only method the old village chief could think of. He wanted to use this method to increase his combat strength. Then, he would stall Zhang Su and buy time for the others. Let's go, the other villagers said with tears in their eyes. Someone pulled back Xia Zongshan and Xia Zongjuan, who had rushed forward to fight Zhang Su. Tell them not to throw their lives away. The old village head was once again sent flying by Zhang Su and couldn't help but vomit blood again. Even if the old village chief burned his origin, he was no match for Zhang Su. Old man, if you want to play, I'll slowly play you to death. However, the others won't be able to escape. Zhang Su's face revealed a sinister expression. He waved his hand. A dense swarm of poisonous insects flew out. Those poisonous insects turned out to be a type of flying spider. They blotted out the sky and covered the earth. There were countless of them. Those poisonous insects pounced on the villagers of Xia village. Does the heavens want my Xia village to be destroyed? The old village chief cried out in grief. Screams of agony could be heard one after another. Many people had already been pounced on by the swarm of insects and were eaten to the bone. The old village chief was sent flying by Zhang Su again. His injuries had worsened. The old village chief could clearly feel that he couldn't hold on much longer. The situation, it was extremely bad. The Xia village could be destroyed at any moment. At that moment, a cluster of flames burned in the air. Then, the cluster of flames grew bigger and bigger. Very quickly, they surged in all directions like they were blotting out the sky. The flames burned fiercely. A large number of poisonous insects were burned to ashes. Zhang Su, who was about to kill the old village chief, saw this scene and his face became extremely gloomy. Who is it? Zhang Su said coldly. It's me. A cold voice came from behind Zhang Su. Zhang Su turned around and saw a young cultivator who had appeared out of nowhere. This young cultivator was Lin Feng, who had just returned to the Xia village. You're courting death. When Zhang Su saw how young Lin Feng was, he already had a look of disdain. He attacked Lin Feng with his palm. Lin Feng waved his right hand and a sword aura surged out. Puchi. That sword aura directly cut off Zhang Su's arm. Blood immediately spurted out. Zhang Su let out an incomparably shrill scream. You, who are you? I'm young Master Yuan Shan's man. If you dare to kill me, young Master Yuan Shan won't let you go. Zhang Su looked at Lin Feng in horror. He used young Master Yuan Shan to scare Lin Feng. Who is young Master Yuan Shan? Lin Feng asked indifferently. Zhang Su was slightly stunned. This kid in front of him had not heard of young Master Yuan Shan? Where did this country bumpkin come from? Of course. Zhang Su did not dare to say these words out loud. He said, young Master Yuan Shan is the son of Supreme Lord Yu Mo, one of the top 10 wandering cultivators in the Xin domain. Do you know how powerful my background is? If you let me go now, you can still live. Otherwise, you're dead meat. Zhang Su said, so what if I kill you? I'll kill you first, then I'll kill that young Master Yuan Shan. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he slashed out with his sword aura. A popping sound could be heard. Zhang Su was cut in half by Lin Feng. Lin Feng then flew towards the old village chief. Snow Lady was also saving the other villagers. Thank goodness young master came back in time. Otherwise, our Xia village would have been destroyed. The old village chief said weakly. His fire of life was already on the verge of death. Lin Feng said, Old village chief, don't say anything else. I'll help you treat your injuries. My heart meridian was broken just now. I've been holding on for so long. I can't hold on anymore. Young master, I know you're a good person. After I die, can you help me take care of the people of Xia village? The old village chief looked at Lin Feng with pleading eyes. Grandpa, you won't die. Old village chief, you'll be fine. Xia Zongshan, Xia Zongjuan, and many other villagers said sorrowfully. Chapter 45-35. The villagers were very dependent on the old village chief, and the old village chief was also a person of virtue and prestige in the hearts of the villagers. Therefore, everyone hoped that the old village chief could live a good life. However, most of the time, it was not about what you wanted. What could you do? Lin Feng tried to use the Great Fate technique to change the old village chief's fate. However, Lin Feng failed. Some people's fates could be changed. Some people's fates could not be changed. For example, Yuan Tian's fate could be changed. This was because one only needed to change Yuan Tian's life aura and innate fate to change Yuan Tian's fate. However, the old village chief was different. Now, Lin Feng wanted to change the old village chief's fate, which was equivalent to bringing a dead person back to life. Naturally, the Great Fate technique could not do this. It was estimated that no one could do this because this was too heaven-defying. I will take good care of them, Lin Feng said. Thank you, Lin Gongzi. The old village chief looked at Lin Feng gratefully. Then, he looked at his two grandsons, Xia Zongshan and Xia Zongjuan. Zongshan, Zongjuan, you must listen to Lin Gongzi in the future, the old village chief said. Now, he was most worried about his two grandsons. When they were 3 years old, their parents died tragically. Then, he raised the two brothers. The relationship between grandfather and grandson was too deep. The two brothers shed tears and said in unison, "We will listen to Lin Gongzi. Grandfather, you will definitely get better." The old village chief revealed a trace of a smile. After saying his last words, he closed his eyes and lost all signs of life. Grandfather, grandfather, old village chief. Seeing the old village chief die, many people cried sorrowfully. Lin Feng stood up and stood together with the Snow Lady, watching these people cry for the old village chief's death. They could not help but feel a sense of sadness in their hearts. The old village chief died tragically to save everyone. This made Lin Feng think of his third uncle, Lin Xiong. Didn't his third uncle die tragically to save him? When he died, not even his bones remained. He had killed Du Guoyan back then. However, the dead third uncle could not be resurrected. This had always been the pain in Lin Feng's heart. In addition, Lin Feng could do nothing when he saw Hua Yihan die tragically in order to save him. There was also Huang Linger's death. Back then, he wanted to save Huang Linger so badly, but he failed. This was the pain in Lin Feng's heart. It wasn't just Lin Feng. The Snow Maidens had also experienced far too many life and death separations. Now that he saw the scene in front of him, he couldn't help but feel sorrowful and sad. Other than the old village chief, there were more than 20 villagers who had died tragically. These dead villagers were all buried by everyone. Lin Feng found a villager and asked him about what had happened. Lin Feng understood the ins and outs of the situation. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown deeply. An ordinary man is innocent. Treasures arouse the envy of others. The tragedy of Xia family village was caused by the possession of 5 ancient cauldrons. Generally speaking, cultivators wouldn't pass by a place like Xia family village. Even if cultivators passed by, they wouldn't pay attention to an ordinary mountain village. But this time, it was a coincidence. When young Master Yuan Shan and his group passed by, Xia family village was using the 5 ancient cauldrons to temper the children's bodies. That was why the tragedy happened. But what made Lin Feng the most angry was that this young Master Yuan Shan was too ruthless. The 5 ancient cauldrons had already been handed over to you. Just leave after obtaining the ancient cauldrons. Why did he send people to massacre the village? Young Master Yuan Shan really deserved to die. I'll cut off young Master Yuan Shan's head and sacrifice it to the old village chief and the others, Lin Feng said. His heart was burning with anger. Firstly, it was because of young Master Yuan Shan. Secondly, it was because of himself. If he hadn't promised the old village chief to repair the 5 ancient cauldrons for Xia family village, would today's incident have happened? If he and the snow maidens had returned earlier, would today's incident have happened? Lin Feng blamed himself. He was also very angry. He wanted to kill. He wanted to kill like never before. I'll go with you, the snow maidens said. Lin Feng said, you stay behind and take care of Xia family village. I alone am enough. The snow maidens understood Lin Feng's current feelings. Hearing Lin Feng's words, she nodded and said, okay, then you be careful. Lin Feng nodded and flew in the direction the villager had pointed out. That direction was the direction young Master Yuanshan was heading towards. Even these villagers knew of young Master Yuanshan's reputation. From this, it could be seen how extraordinary young Master Yuanshan was. Lin Feng also understood some things about young Master Yuanshan from the villagers. For example, young Master Yuanshan's father was one of the top 10 wandering cultivators in Xin domain. Young Master Yuanshan's own cultivation was also unfathomable, and so on. But Lin Feng didn't care about all these. He only had one thought, and that was to kill young Master Yuanshan and let him accompany the old village chief and the others in death. Sky Mountain City, one of the famous ancient cities in Xin domain. Young Master Yuanshan was currently in Sky Mountain City. This time, young Master Yuanshan came to Sky Mountain City to participate in a gathering. This gathering was organized by one of the top 10 beauties in the Undying Realm, Fairy Hualingxian. Hualingxian's background was extremely extraordinary. It was said that Hualingxian was a holy spirit that was born from a celestial flower. Not only was she powerful, she also had a peerless appearance. Among the top 10 fairies, she was one of the best. Countless people adored Hualingxian, and countless people did not hesitate to cross several regions in order to see Hualingxian. The reason why Hualingxian organized this gathering in Xin domain. It was said that Hualingxian was born in Xin domain. Back then, Hualingxian was born from a celestial flower. The supreme demon empress of the demon race, Demon Empress Feng Shi, passed by. When she saw the celestial flower, she picked it. Later on, Hualingxian was born from the celestial flower. And Demon Empress Feng, she took Hualingxian as her disciple. Hualingxian cultivated for 300 years, but her cultivation was unfathomable. It was said that she was undefeated against some of the 8 great young masters. From this, it could be seen how powerful Hualingxian's cultivation was. Of course, no matter how powerful Hualingxian was, she was only a junior. The truly terrifying one was her master, Demon Empress Feng Shi. It was said that Demon Empress Feng Shi was an extremely ancient existence. The Undying Realm's demon race had 3 sovereigns and 1 empress. All of them were at the true immortal realm. The 3 sovereigns and 1 empress were all extremely ancient. Their cultivation was exceedingly high. In addition, Demon Empress Feng Shi was transformed from a phoenix. That made Demon Empress Feng Shi even more terrifying. This was because everyone knew that the phoenix race was very powerful. It was one of the strongest bloodlines in the demon race. Moreover, the phoenix nirvana technique was unparalleled. Therefore, countless people wanted to marry Hualingxian. It wasn't just because Hualingxian was beautiful. Many people also valued the powerful faction behind Hualingxian. Chapter 45-36. This time, many top geniuses came to the gathering held by Hualingxian. Because the matter in the extreme north had caused a huge commotion, especially after the news of Lin Baiyan's son, Lin Feng, had spread, it caused a huge uproar. And the extreme north was right next to the Xin realm. As a result, many people came to the Xin realm to inquire about Lin Feng. Only they themselves knew why those powers were inquiring about Lin Feng. But it was obvious that most of them wanted to capture Lin Feng and go to Crown Prince Di Wudao in exchange for rewards. As for the top experts of the younger generation of the Undying Realm, they also wanted to suppress Lin Feng. They wanted to let Lin Feng know how powerful the experts of the younger generation of the Undying Realm were. They wanted to let Lin Feng know that Lin Feng did not have the qualifications to behave atrociously in the Undying Realm. The Heaven Peak Tower was the largest restaurant in the Heaven Peak City. People came and went, and it was extremely lively. But today, because of the gathering of the young geniuses of the Undying Realm, the Heaven Peak Tower was no longer open for business. They only served the young geniuses who came to the gathering. A large number of cultivators rushed over. Those who were able to participate in this gathering were all extraordinary. They all had powerful forces behind them, even if they didn't have a powerful force. But they often had extremely terrifying cultivations. However, ordinary geniuses did not have the qualifications to reach the top floor. The Heaven Peak Tower had a total of 7 floors, and the top floor referred to the 7th floor. This was the place where the top geniuses gathered. There weren't many people, only a few dozen of them. Young Master Yuanshan was a worldly immortal stage cultivator, although there was still a huge gap between him and the 8 great young masters of the Undying Realm. But in reality, young Master Yuanshan was already one of the best among the younger generation. Because young Master Yuanshan had cultivated until now, it had only been 400 years. He hadn't cultivated for long, so being able to break through to the worldly immortal stage was naturally extraordinary. One after another, a few top-notch young masters arrived and walked towards the 7th floor. I heard that young Master Mingyu is also in the Sin Realm. I wonder if young Master Mingyu will come? A cultivator said. Young Master Mingyu was one of the 8 great young masters of the Undying Realm. At such a young age, his cultivation was heaven-defying. His every move naturally attracted attention. I don't think so, because the 8th-level palace has deep enmity with the demons, another cultivator said. The Baji Palace is the supporter of Crown Prince Di Wudao, and Di Wudao is the Crown Prince of the Heavenly Court. The relationship between the Heavenly Court and the monster race is indeed terrible. They were like fire and water. It's normal for young Master Mingyu to not come. Another cultivator said. It is said that young Master Xingyu is also in the Sin domain. Another cultivator said. Then, someone said, Brother, you are too ill-informed. Young Master Xingyu has already left the Sin domain. Obviously, although there were many Gongzi in the Undying Realm. However, the top young masters were still the 8 great young masters. Young Master Mingyu and young Master Xingyu were among the 8 great young masters. As for young Master Yuanshan, compared to young Master Mingyu, young Master Xingyu was much weaker. Young Master Xueyu has arrived. Just at this moment, a commotion came from outside. A man wearing a green robe stepped into the Heavenly Peak Tower. He was a very handsome young master, but his eyes were very scary. It was a pair of eyes that could make people sink into them. If anyone looked into those eyes, they would definitely sink into them and be unable to extricate themselves. Behind young Master Xueyu was the famous 9 Underworld Devil Palace in the Undying Realm. This was a top force of the Devil Dao. Young Master Xueyu was one of the 8 great young masters of the Undying Realm. His Devil Dao was monstrous, and no one dared to provoke him. Now that young Master Xueyu had appeared, it naturally caused quite a stir. Many people came forward to greet him. However, young Master Xueyu's expression was indifferent. He did not care about the people around him, but the surrounding geniuses did not dare to show any dissatisfaction. Young Master Xueyu was too powerful. No one dared to offend him. Young Master Xueyu arrived at the 7th floor. When he arrived, there were already dozens of cultivators gathered here. Many of their expressions changed when they saw young Master Xueyu. Young Master Xueyu was definitely a terrifying existence. I heard that Fairy was in the Heavenly Peak City, so I hurried over. I am extremely happy to see Fairy here. Young Master Xueyu said with a smile. Young Master Xueyu was a cold and emotionless person. However, this did not mean that young Master Xueyu did not like women. On the contrary, young Master Xueyu never lacked women. As long as he took a fancy to a woman, he would do all he could to get her. Many people knew that young Master Xueyu was pursuing Hua Lingxian. However, Hua Lingxian had never agreed to his request. The Devil Dao and the Devil Dao had a closer relationship. Therefore, even if she did not agree to his request, Hua Lingxian could not completely cut off her relationship with him. After all, there were many opportunities for them to meet. So it's young Master Xueyu. Please take a seat. Hua Lingxian smiled. She was wearing a light blue dress. Many beautiful flowers were embroidered on it. She looked like a flower fairy, full of immortal energy and spiritual energy. Looking at her more than once would make people feel like they were blaspheming her. This was Hua Lingxian, a fairy born from an immortal flower. She was so otherworldly and beautiful. Young Master Shueyu sat on the first seat on the left. He smiled faintly and asked, "What was everyone talking about earlier?" A genius said, "We were talking about Lin Baiyan's son, Lin Feng." Young Master Shueyu said indifferently, "I came here for him. I heard that he has the undying sinner's blood. I want to use his undying sinner's blood to refine an immortal pill." The corners of many people's mouths twitched when they heard young Master Shueyu's words. Refining humans into pills was a taboo, even more so in the undying world. Even if someone did it in private, no one would openly talk about it. However, young Master Shueyu had said it without hesitation. From this, one could see how arrogant he was. Young Master Yuanshan's relationship with young Master Yu was pretty good. That was because young Master Yuanshan's father was also an expert of the devil path. It was normal for devil path experts to interact with each other. That was why young Master Yuanshan and young Master Yu had known each other for a long time. Young Master Yuanshan said, "I've also heard about Lin Feng. I heard that he obtained the Hoi Bao and the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman and slaughtered his way through the extreme north. However, according to what I know, his cultivation realm isn't very high. Back then, he was only able to release the Hoi Bao's power because of the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman. But that was a coincidence. The ancestral Magus Jade Talisman sensed the Hoi Bao's aura and automatically awakened. Normally, Lin Feng wouldn't be able to use the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman, so he wouldn't be able to release the Hoi Bao's power. Without the Hoi Bao, what is Lin Feng? There's no need for Brother Shueyu to take action. All you need to do is send a subordinate to deal with Lin Feng. For Brother Shueyu to personally take action is an insult to you." Chapter 45-37. Lin Feng stood outside the Heaven Peak Tower and looked in its direction. The Heaven Peak Tower was guarded by guards, so not everyone was qualified to enter. If ordinary cultivators wanted to enter, they would definitely be ordered to retreat by the guards outside. Lin Feng walked towards the Heaven Peak Tower. The guards saw that Lin Feng had an extraordinary bearing, so they did not stop Lin Feng and interrogate him. There were many geniuses in the Heaven Peak Tower. Many of them were gathered together and chatting. Some were talking about the top-notch geniuses. Some were talking about Lin Feng. After entering the Heaven Peak Tower, Lin Feng heard many people talking about him. However, it was clear that no one here recognized him. The number of cultivators who had gone to the extreme north was not high, and most of them were powerful cultivators. There were only a few young cultivators who had gone to the extreme north. Generally, the great clans and powers would not allow their young cultivators to go to a dangerous place like the extreme north. "Brother, do you know where young Master Yuanshan is?" Lin Feng stopped a cultivator and asked. "Young Master Yuanshan? He's in a private room on the 7th floor. Brother, how should I address you? Do you know young Master Yuanshan?" The cultivator looked at Lin Feng in surprise, as if he wanted Lin Feng to introduce him to young Master Yuanshan. Lin Feng ignored him and walked towards the 7th floor. "If you don't want to introduce him, then don't." Leaving without saying a word. What a rude guy. Seeing Lin Feng leave, the cultivator couldn't help but mutter. Ordinary people would not dare to casually come up to the 7th floor unless they were qualified to do so. Otherwise, they would only be humiliating themselves. They were all people with status. Naturally, they would not do something like humiliating themselves. Very quickly, Lin Feng arrived in front of the private room on the 7th floor. When Lin Feng arrived, he heard someone say, "You're here? I've heard about Lin Feng. I heard that he obtained the Hoi Bao and the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman, slaughtering everyone in the north. But as far as I know, his cultivation level isn't very high. I was only able to release the power of the Hoi Bao with the help of the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman, but that was a coincidence. The ancestral Magus Jade Talisman awakened on its own after sensing the power of the Hoi Bao. Normally, Lin Feng wouldn't be able to use the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman, so he wouldn't be able to release the power of the Hoi Bao. If he can't bring out the full power of the Hoi Bao, who does Lin Feng think he is? There's no need for Brother Yu Shui to personally take action. You only need to send a subordinate to deal with Lin Feng. For Brother Yu Shui to personally take action is an insult to you. Lin Feng heard young Master Yuan Shan's words. Just as young Master Yuan Shan's voice fell, another person spoke out. That's right. Who does Lin Feng think he is? What qualifications does a mere descendant of a sinner's blood have to fight against Brother Yu Shuiyu? Brother Shuiyu can kill him in 3 moves. Soon after, a few more people agreed. Each and every one of them looked down on Lin Feng. Then, they began to flatter young Master Shuiyu. Young Master Shuiyu was naturally proud of himself. Everyone had their vanity. No matter how strong a cultivator was, they all had their vanity. Young Master Shuiyu was no exception. He was no exception. He also had his vanity. So when he heard everyone's flattery, young Master Shuiyu had a smug expression. At this moment, the door to the private room was pushed open. Everyone turned to look at the entrance and saw a young cultivator walk in. A human cultivator? Many people frowned. The human race truly didn't have many experts in recent years, and the number of peak experts of the younger generation was even fewer. So everyone began to mutter to themselves. They didn't know who this human cultivator was. Who is this person? Someone asked. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. Of the dozens of people present, not a single one recognized Lin Feng. Young master, have you also come for this gathering? Hua Lingxian asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, I've come to find someone. Who are you looking for, young master? Hua Lingxian asked in astonishment. Young Master Yuan Shan. Lin Feng said, You're looking for me? Young Master Yuan Shan was astonished. He truly didn't remember knowing such a human cultivator. He also didn't have any enmity with such a human cultivator. However, young Master Yuan Shan didn't think much of Lin Feng because Lin Feng was too young. Why are you looking for me? Young Master Yuan Shan looked at Lin Feng with contempt. Do you still remember what happened in the mountain village? Lin Feng asked. What happened in the mountain village? You're from that mountain village? I was wondering why Zhang Su didn't come back to report. Could it be that you killed him? Young Master Yuan Shan's expression couldn't help but turn gloomy. It seemed that Zhang Su had been killed by Lin Feng. Zhang Su's death didn't affect young Master Yuan Shan much, but young Master Yuan Shan was furious. After all, one had to look at the owner before beating a dog. In young Master Yuan Shan's eyes, Lin Feng's killing of Zhang Su was a disgrace to him. That guy was called Zhang Su? I did kill him. Lin Feng sneered. Brat, you dare to kill my people? Who gave you the guts? Young Master Yuan Shan looked at Lin Feng with a cold glint in his eyes. He didn't wait for Lin Feng's answer and asked coldly, Are you here to avenge the dead villagers? Or to ask for the 5 cauldrons? I'm here to kill you. Lin Feng said indifferently. Ha ha ha. You're here to kill me? What a joke. Young Master Yuan Shan burst into laughter after hearing Lin Feng's words. Many shook their heads and looked at Lin Feng with a playful gaze. They naturally didn't think that Lin Feng had the strength to kill young Master Yuan Shan. In their eyes, the difference between Lin Feng and young Master Yuan Shan was like the difference between heaven and earth. Lin Feng walked toward young Master Yuan Shan. He had already decided to kill young Master Yuan Shan. Therefore, Lin Feng naturally wouldn't let young Master Yuan Shan off. You really don't know the difference between life and death. Do you think you can jump around in front of me just because you have some strength? Young Master Yuan Shan looked at Lin Feng indifferently. Everyone present was a peak expert of the younger generation. Although young Master Yuan Shan's cultivation wasn't weak, he couldn't be considered a peak expert here. However, young Master Yuan Shan was secretly delighted. He could show off in front of a group of peak experts. Naturally, this was a matter of pride for him. Young Master Yuan Shan glanced at young Master Shuiyu from the corner of his eyes. He noticed that young Master Shuiyu was watching the conflict with interest. Young Master Yuan Shan felt an indescribable excitement in his heart. There weren't many chances to show off in front of a peak expert like young Master Shuiyu. Kneel. Young Master Yuan Shan stood up and shouted coldly. A powerful aura surged out and suppressed Lin Feng. Young Master Yuan Shan wanted to suppress Lin Feng and make Lin Feng kneel before him. Chapter 45-38. Young Master Yuan Shan wanted to show off in front of everyone, but things didn't go as he wished. When young Master Yuan Shan emitted a powerful aura that suppressed Lin Feng's body, Lin Feng was completely fine. What a bunch of clowns! Lin Feng calmly said these 4 words. These 4 words were like a sharp sword that fiercely pierced young Master Yuanshan's heart. Now, young Master Yuanshan felt that his face was burning with pain. Because young Master Yuanshan thought that Lin Feng was easy to deal with. Wasn't crushing Lin Feng as easy as crushing an ant? So he wanted to humiliate Lin Feng in front of so many people. He wanted to show off in front of so many people. But who knew that he couldn't show off? Instead, he was ridiculed by Lin Feng, especially after hearing the words jumping clown. Young Master Yuanshan felt the anger in his body burning fiercely. I want your life. Young Master Yuanshan jumped out and punched towards Lin Feng. Young Master Yuanshan failed to show off in front of everyone. Plus, after being ridiculed by Lin Feng, he became angry from embarrassment. So, now, young Master Yuanshan only wanted to quickly kill Lin Feng. Facing young Master Yuanshan's punch, Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He also punched out. Bang! In the next moment, accompanied by a violent collision sound, Lin Feng and young Master Yuanshan's fists fiercely collided. Young Master Yuanshan immediately looked as if he was struck by lightning. In midair, he directly spat out a large mouthful of blood. With a plop, he fell to the ground. Lin Feng's figure flashed. As if he had teleported, he appeared in front of young Master Yuanshan and stepped on his chest. This kid is actually so strong. Cries of surprise rang out one after another. Young Master Yuanshan was a human immortal. This level was considered an extremely powerful existence in the younger generation. But young Master Yuanshan, unexpectedly, this young human cultivator had defeated him with a single move. This was too inconceivable. This meant that this young human cultivator was definitely an extremely terrifying existence. My eyes were blind just now. This was what many people were thinking. Who are you? How can an expert like you appear in a small mountain village? Young Master Yuanshan shouted in disbelief. He began to struggle. However, he was stepped on by Lin Feng. He couldn't break free at all. It was a great humiliation. What a great humiliation. Young Master Yuanshan was also a high and mighty figure. Now, he was actually being stepped on by someone else. The humiliation he suffered today made young Master Yuanshan feel like he was better off dead. Lin Feng didn't answer young Master Yuanshan. Instead, he looked at young Master Yuanshan coldly and said, "When you wantonly trample on other people's lives, did you ever think that one day you would be trampled under someone else's foot? Are you talking about those untouchables? Is there a need to shed all pretense of cordiality with me over a bunch of untouchables? My father is exalted Lord, you fiend. Think carefully. If you dare touch me, my father won't let you off." Young Master Yuanshan said coldly. He even brought up his father. Exalted Lord, you fiend. He wanted to use Exalted Lord, you fiend to intimidate Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng didn't care about young Master Yuanshan's threat. He sneered. So what if you're Exalted Lord, you fiend? Even if your father is the Heavenly Emperor, he can't save you now. Lin Feng was about to kill young Master Yuanshan. At this time, young Master Yuanshan shouted, "Young Master Shuiyu, save me, brat." "Stop." Young Master Shuiyu said when he heard young Master Yuanshan's cry for help. Young Master Shuiyu and young Master Yuanshan had been friends for many years. In addition, Exalted Lord Yu Fiend had a deep relationship with 9 Underworld Palace. Therefore, young Master Shuiyu naturally had to help young Master Yuanshan. However, Lin Feng didn't care about Shuiyu. He slashed out a beam of sword energy. Pucci young Master Yuanshan's head was chopped off by Lin Feng. Heavens, this brat really killed young Master Yuanshan. Who is this guy? Not only did he not give young Master Shuiyu face, he doesn't seem to be afraid of Exalted Lord Yu Fiend. I don't know. He looks very unfamiliar. This is my first time seeing him. Many cultivators in the private room began to discuss. Young Master Shuiyu's expression turned extremely ugly. As one of the 8 great young masters of the undying world, he had no choice. Who would dare to not give him face? However, Lin Feng dared to. This was the first time young Master Shuiyu had lost face in front of so many people. Therefore, He was extremely furious. He looked at Lin Feng with killing intent. Lin Feng naturally didn't guess what young Master Shuiyu was thinking. He didn't care about what young Master Shuiyu was thinking. Today, no one could stop him from killing young Master Yuanshan. Lin Feng kept young Master Yuanshan's head. Then, he flicked his finger. A cluster of flames flew out and burned young Master Yuanshan's body to ashes. I apologize for disturbing everyone. Allow me to offer you 3 cups of wine as an apology. Lin Feng picked up the wine bottle and cup on the table beside him and poured 3 cups of wine, downing them all in one gulp. He then cupped his fists and prepared to leave. However, at this moment, a cold voice suddenly resounded. Did I say you could leave? The person who spoke was none other than young Master Shuiyu. Young Master Shuiyu was a vicious and merciless person. He would kill anyone who disagreed with him. He had done this many times. Therefore, no one dared to provoke him now. However, this time, Lin Feng hadn't given young Master Shuiyu any face and had thoroughly angered him. Since young Master Shuiyu wanted to kill Lin Feng, he naturally wouldn't let Lin Feng leave. What? Is something the matter? Lin Feng glanced at young Master Shuiyu indifferently. When Lin Feng had entered the Heaven Peak Tower, he had heard many people talking about young Master Shuiyu. He knew that this person was one of the 8 young masters of the Undying World. He was as famous as young Master Mingyu and young Master Xingyu. But so what? Now that Lin Feng had broken through to the Emperor realm, his battle strength had increased greatly. Furthermore, he had many treasures on him. Did he have to be afraid of this person? Brat, do you know what you've just done? Young Master Shuiyu said coldly. Killing. Lin Feng said indifferently. I told you to stop. Young Master Shuiyu said coldly. Why should I listen to you? Who do you think you are? Lin Feng replied indifferently. Young Master Shuiyu's eyes flashed coldly. He sneered. Interesting. It's been a long time since I've seen someone who doesn't know life from death in front of me. Brat, I'll give you a chance to live. Kneel on the ground and lick young Master Yuanshan's blood clean. Then, I'll spare your life. Otherwise, I'll take your dog life today. Author's note. Recently, I've been writing for more than 10 hours every day. I'm seriously overloaded. My body is exhausted. This is the second update today. I'm going to the hospital to see a doctor later. Chapter 45-39. Hearing young Master Shuiyu's words, everyone couldn't help but be stunned. Then, many people looked at Lin Feng with pity. Young Master Shuiyu really knew how to humiliate people. In everyone's opinion, Lin Feng had no choice at all. Lin Feng had indeed displayed extraordinary battle strength. However, he was nothing compared to young Master Shuiyu. As one of the 8 young masters of the Undying World, young Master Shuiyu's cultivation was at the top of the Undying World's younger generation. The number of young experts who could contend against him could be counted on one hand. But Lin Feng wasn't one of those young cultivators. Even now, no one knew who Lin Feng was or where he came from. So what if Lin Feng could kill young Master Yuanshan? He was still an ant in front of young Master Shuiyu. Lin Feng looked at young Master Shuiyu indifferently and said, What a joke. Do you think everyone in the world will listen to you? Don't you know your own worth? Do you think you're invincible just because you've been praised? Don't forget that you're only somewhat famous among the younger generation. There are countless people who can kill you. I'm very curious. Where do you get the courage to be so arrogant? Don't you know how to write the words asking for humiliation? Lin Feng's poisonous tongue was too powerful. Thus, when he heard Lin Feng's words, the corner of young Master Shuiyu's mouth twitched. Young Master Shuiyu had never been mocked like this before. Thus, young Master Shuiyu was incomparably furious. His killing intent soared. Young Master Shuiyu stood up and sneered. Since you want to die, I can fulfill your wish. As soon as he finished speaking, young Master Shuiyu stood up and walked toward Lin Feng. His eyes flashed with killing intent. He wanted to kill Lin Feng. Haha, you're too full of yourself. This is a gathering place, not a place for a life and death battle. Let's go somewhere else. I'll personally cut off your head. Lin Feng said coldly. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the surrounding cultivators could not help but mutter. Because Lin Feng dared to provoke young noble Shuiyu. That didn't seem normal. Lin Feng clearly knew young Master Shui Yu's identity. Since Lin Feng knew of young Master Shui Yu's identity, then he would be able to tell. He knew how powerful young Master Shui Yu was. Lin Feng did not place such a powerful existence in his eyes at all. What did this mean? This meant that Lin Feng did not place young Master Shui Yu in his eyes. Could it be that this brat had some hidden and terrifying methods? Many people thought to themselves. Apart from this reason, no one could think of any other reason. All right, let's go to the central plaza and have a battle to the death, young Master Shui Yu said indifferently. At this moment, Hua Lingxian said, Young lords, why fight to the death over such a small matter? Wouldn't it be better to sit down and drink a cup of wine and forget all enmity with a smile? Wouldn't that be a wonderful story? Hua Lingxian was actually helping Lin Feng. She knew how powerful young Master Shui Yu was. Lin Feng was definitely not a match for young Master Shui Yu. Hua Lingxian had a few friends from the human race. Therefore, she had always had a good impression of humans. Therefore, Hua Lingxian wanted to save Lin Feng's life. Young Master Shui Yu said, Fairy, I'm only killing this brat because he's courting death. Today, this brat must die. Otherwise, where will I put my face? Lin Feng also said, We'll soon find out who's courting death. Today, I'll let you know that there's always someone better out there. Lin Feng's words were too arrogant. How many people would dare to say such words to young Master Shui Yu? They were simply courting death. And everyone knew, when Lin Feng said those words, Lin Feng's expression changed. It would be impossible for him to reconcile with young Master Shui Yu. Hua Lingxian could not help but feel helpless. In the end, she did not say anything. Let's go. Don't waste my time. After I kill you, I still have many things to take care of. Lin Feng looked indifferently at young Master Shui Yu. Many people smiled bitterly. Lin Feng was too arrogant. Moreover, he did not seem to care about young Master Shui Yu at all. This made everyone feel incredulous. Young Master Shui Yu said coldly, You're only good at talking. In other aspects, you're pitifully weak. Lin Feng did not refute young Master Shui Yu. He took the lead and left the room. Then, young Master Shui Yu also left the room. Let's go and take a look. Many people stood up. Then, they walked outside. Although no one was optimistic about Lin Feng's chances in this battle, however, everyone realized that Lin Feng seemed to have some hidden tricks up his sleeve. That was why Lin Feng was so confident. Therefore, the result of this battle might be unexpected. Seeing the top geniuses walk out of the room on the 7th floor, the Heaven Peak Tower's geniuses were puzzled. They did not know why, but these top geniuses walked out of the room shortly after the gathering started. Lin Feng and young Master Shui Yu left the Heaven Peak Tower. Then, the two of them flew toward the central plaza. Soon, the news of what had happened in the room spread throughout the Heaven Peak Tower. Lin Feng had suddenly appeared and killed young Master Yuanshan. The conflict between Lin Feng and young Master Shui Yu was also exposed. This caused a huge uproar, and many people were incomparably shocked. Who would have thought that so many things would happen in such a short period of time? Moreover, everyone was guessing Lin Feng's identity. Who was Lin Feng? He actually dared to fight young Master Shui Yu to a life and death battle? It was truly inconceivable. Many people flew toward the central plaza. This battle had piqued everyone's interest. An expert like young Master Shui Yu was a terrifying existence. Now, he was actually going to fight someone to the death. Everyone was looking forward to the result of this battle. Of course, in the eyes of many, young Master Shui Yu was simply too powerful. Such a person, he was definitely not someone Lin Feng could contend against. With so many young geniuses heading toward the central plaza, this matter naturally attracted the attention of others. Someone tried to find out what was going on. Then, someone told the person who asked about the upcoming battle between Lin Feng and young Master Shui Yu. After hearing the news, everyone was shocked. Then, the news quickly spread out. A large number of cultivators flew toward the central plaza. It's mainly due to the stress of life. I spent more than 2 hours writing this chapter on my phone in the hospital. Also, the finals of the top 39 popular characters selection has begun. Brothers, we're currently ranked 27, and the preliminaries are ranked 12. We can't give up. Can we help Old Steamed Bun get into the top 9? Old Man To begs for everyone's help. After returning home from the hospital, Old Man 2 immediately started writing. This popular character selection is too important to Old Man 2. I beg for everyone's help again. Chapter 45-40. The arena in the central plaza was a place where many cultivators fought. Many classic battles had taken place there. Some of them were even battles between top experts. As a result, the arena in the central plaza was covered in rust. There were even dried bloodstains in many places. Apart from that, there were also countless sword and saber scars on the arena. Those scars and sword scars seemed to be telling of the tragic battles that had taken place there in the past. More and more cultivators gathered at the central plaza. Everyone looked at the arena. There were two people standing on the arena. Many people recognized one of them. It was the famous young master Shuiyu, one of the 8 young masters of the Undying Realm. The other person was a young human cultivator. However, no one recognized Lin Feng. Who is that brat? He actually dares to challenge young master Shuiyu. Is he tired of living? Yeah, there are plenty of people who aren't afraid of death these days. That kid is also a human cultivator. I don't mean to ask, but do the human cultivators still have any capable experts? Most importantly, isn't that brat too young? He seems to be only a little over 100 years old. Is he really going to challenge young Master Shuiyu at such a young age? Will he be instantly killed by young Master Bloody Yu? Many cultivators who had come to watch the show began discussing among themselves when they saw Lin Feng. In the eyes of those cultivators, Lin Feng challenging young Master Shuiyu was no different from courting death. Many people felt that Lin Feng was definitely going to die. No one in the world could save Lin Feng's life. As for the top geniuses, they raised their brows. They naturally knew that Lin Feng was not a simple character. However, they did not know how Lin Feng would deal with young Master Shuiyu. That was why they were all very curious. Have you thought about how you want to die? Young Master Shuiyu looked at Lin Feng indifferently. You should be asking yourself that question. Lin Feng sneered in response. The spectators were extremely excited when they saw the two people who were rebuking each other on the stage. It seemed that there would be an intense battle later. It's actually him. Among the crowd, some cultivators recognized Lin Feng's identity. When they recognized Lin Feng's identity, their expressions changed slightly. Lin Feng's identity was too sensitive. They never thought that Lin Feng would actually appear here. Furthermore, he was going to have a life and death battle with young Master Shuiyu. He was truly audacious. However, the cultivators who recognized Lin Feng didn't say anything. They planned to continue watching. They wanted to see what would happen next. Would Lin Feng die at the hands of young Master Shuiyu? Brat, I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Die. Young Master Shuiyu's expression was indifferent. He leaped out and flew towards Lin Feng. He wanted to kill Lin Feng. At this time, a light flashed in Lin Feng's hand and a huge bow appeared. It was none other than the supreme treasure, the Hui bow. This guy's treasure is actually a huge bow. Look, he's starting to shoot arrows. Is he trying to use that bow to kill young Master Shuiyu? Why aren't there any arrows? How is he going to kill young Master Shuiyu with that? Many people were puzzled. Those who had seen the Hui bow before were as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. Therefore, the spectators didn't recognize that the bow in Lin Feng's hand was the legendary Hui bow. However, the few cultivators who recognized it were all cultivators. They still didn't say anything. At this moment, Lin Feng held the bow with his right hand and pulled the bowstring with his left. Lin Feng was indeed unable to use the ancestral shaman jade talisman. However, Lin Feng had other ways to unleash the power of the Hui Bao. Within his Dantian, the Avatar, the Magic Lotus, and the ruler's armor were all supporting Lin Feng. Now that Lin Feng had broken through to the Sovereign Lord realm, the Avatar's strength had increased greatly. His Avatar had cultivated the Stoneman 9 Transformations Immortal Sutra, and he had been cultivating in the space-time continuum. Therefore, he had improved rapidly. Now, he was an Earth Immortal. The Magic Lotus's spirit had completely fused with the power of the second world of the Magic Lotus. This was the most crucial point. After fusing with the power of the second world, the spirit of the Magic Lotus could increase Lin Feng's strength tremendously. Moreover, as Lin Feng's cultivation increased, His control over the ruler's armor also reached an unprecedented level. The ruler's armor could also increase Lin Feng's strength. Therefore, perhaps the arrows Lin Feng shot with the Hui Bao might not be as powerful as the arrows he shot with the ancestral Shaman Jade Talisman. However, the power of Lin Feng's arrows was still not to be underestimated. The energy of heaven and earth gathered from all directions. The energy of heaven and earth gathered to form an arrow. That arrow exuded an extremely terrifying power. It was so powerful that it could destroy heaven and earth. Whoosh! The next moment, the arrow was as fast as lightning as it shot towards young Master Shuiyu, who was charging towards Lin Feng. What a terrifying energy arrow! Many people couldn't help but exclaim when they felt the terrifying power contained within the energy arrow. What bao is that? Hualingxian, who was in the crowd, was shocked. Lin Feng's ability to shoot such a terrifying arrow was not only due to his own strength, but also due to the huge bao. Therefore, Hualingxian was very curious about the origin of the huge bao. At this moment, the energy arrow shot by the Hui Bao had already arrived in front of young Master Shuiyu and was heading straight for his head. The first method is to increase vitality. Vitality is increased by reading the Archean Dragonesque Elephant Art. You need to use QQ Reader to read the Archean Dragonesque Elephant Art. Every minute you read the Archean Dragonesque Elephant Art gives you 1 point. After 100 minutes, you can draw a lottery. The second method is to increase affection points. To increase affection points, you need to participate in QQ Reader's daily quests. The Archean Dragonesque Elephant Art has more than 100,000 fans. Are there any tycoons out there? Please give me some tips. The third method is to increase 3D. Click on the word 3D and a discussion topic will appear below. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Click on the word 3D to participate in the discussion. Chapter 45-41. Sensing the terrifying power of the arrow, young Lord Yu calmed down. Young Master Shuiyu's expression was indifferent as he sent out a palm strike. Bang! A muffled sound of collision rang out. Lin Feng's energy arrow was shattered by young Lord Yu. What strength! Lin Feng's face was filled with shock. Young Lord Yu's battle strength was truly terrifying. However, the battle had only just begun. Lin Feng shot out arrow after arrow. Whoosh! 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 Energy arrows formed one after another, each containing a terrifying power. They instantly arrived in front of young Lord Yu. Young Lord Yu could destroy an energy arrow with a single palm strike. However, Lin Feng had shot out too many energy arrows. Young Lord Yu found it extremely difficult to block them. He had no choice but to retreat. Damn it! Young Lord Yu's expression was extremely ugly. He had originally wanted to kill Lin Feng with a thunderous momentum. Then, in front of countless people, to establish his unparalleled might. However, unfortunately, he had not been able to do so. Young Lord Yu opened up a distance and dodged the arrows, following which, a war spear appeared in his hand. The war spear's name was Bloodslaughter. It was said to be an extremely terrifying killing weapon that contained unparalleled killing intent. It had a chance of evolving into an ancient killing weapon in the future. Young Lord Yu, aren't you one of the 8 young lords of the Undying World? Do you think you deserve such a title with your little cultivation? A character like you is only fit to carry my shoes. Lin Feng looked at young Lord Yu mockingly. Hearing Lin Feng's mocking words, many people's mouths could not help but twitch. Lin Feng's words were simply too infuriating. Moreover, he was too arrogant. He actually dared to say that young Lord Yu was only fit to carry his shoes. Who in the undying world would dare to say such words to young Lord Yu? Who would dare to look down on young Lord Yu? No one dared to do so. However, Lin Feng had done so. It had to be said. Lin Feng was truly audacious. Just how prideful was young Master Xueyu? Naturally, he would not swallow such humiliation. Therefore, when he heard Lin Feng's words, a dense killing intent appeared in young Master Xueyu's eyes. He said coldly, "I'll definitely cut off your head and sacrifice it to the spear in my hand." With that, young Master Xueyu charged towards Lin Feng. He held the war spear in his hand, his fighting spirit soaring to the heavens. He was like an immortal god of war who wanted to conquer the world. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he faced young Master Xueyu. Lin Feng continued to draw his bow and shoot. Swish, 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 one arrow after another flew towards young Master Xueyu. In the face of Lin Feng's attacks, young Master Bloody Hell was much more relaxed. Because he was now wielding the Bloody Slaughter War Spear, which was extremely powerful. Wielding it, young Master Xueyu was able to unleash a shocking amount of power. Young Master Xueyu swung his Blood Slaughter War Spear at the incoming arrows. Clang, 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 clang. It was accompanied by the sound of metal colliding. Young Master Xueyu's war spear clashed with Lin Feng's arrows. Every collision caused sparks to fly everywhere. Lin Feng drew his bow and shot at young Master Xueyu. As for young Master Xueyu, he swept through everything with his spear. Such a battle scene was truly explosive to the extreme. However, trying to kill young Master Xueyu with an energy arrow was clearly not a realistic idea. Therefore, young Master Xueyu and Lin Feng continued to draw closer. Young Master Xueyu's body emitted a terrifying killing intent as he looked coldly at Lin Feng. "Brat, have you run out of tricks? Very soon, I will use your blood to nourish my war spear. You will die under my war spear. Consider it your good fortune from your previous life." Lin Feng sneered. "You're too much of a braggart. You haven't even gained any advantage, and you're already bragging. I think you should stop calling yourself young Master Xueyu. You should just call yourself young Master Braggart." Hearing this, young Master Xueyu was enraged. He leaped out and charged at Lin Feng. 7 stars piercing the sun. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he pulled the bowstring. In an instant, 7 energy arrows were formed. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. 7 energy arrows shot out at the same time. Every single energy arrow contained the power to destroy the heavens. Every single energy arrow was so terrifying that it made people turn pale with fright. Man's spear unity. Young Master Xueyu's expression was indifferent. In that instant, his body seemed to have become one with the war spear. It was as if he had turned into the war spear, and the war spear had become a part of his body. Sweeping 8 directions. Following this, a cold voice rang out. After becoming one with the spear, young Master Xueyu exploded with a terrifying power. The war spear in his hand gently swept through the air. In an instant, the 7 arrows that Lin Feng shot out were shattered. Powerful, truly powerful. At this moment, young Master Xueyu's battle prowess shocked Lin Feng. 9 stars alignment. Lin Feng continued to attack. The 9 star pearls shot out in succession. 9 arrows connected head to tail. They shot towards young Master Xueyu. Sky-piercing spear. Young Master Xueyu's voice rang out once more. Following this, the war spear in his hand pierced forward. 9 consecutive sounds of collision rang out. Young Master Xueyu had destroyed the 9 arrows that Lin Feng had shot out. At this moment, young Master Xueyu was only a dozen meters away from Lin Feng. His magic power was continuously pouring into the war spear as he stabbed it towards Lin Feng. He wanted to kill Lin Feng in midair. That brat is going to be killed by young Master Xueyu. That's right. He's dead for sure this time. Many people couldn't help but cry out in alarm. In their eyes, this attack from young noble Xueyu was extremely powerful. Lin Feng was going to die without a doubt. However, this result wasn't much different from what they had expected. There were almost no people who thought that Lin Feng could kill young Master Xueyu. Therefore, now that Lin Feng was about to be killed by young Master Xueyu, they weren't particularly surprised. Many people thought that this was a natural outcome. But at this moment, everyone saw Lin Feng drew his bow once more and shot another arrow. But this time, it was different. This time, Lin Feng took out a real arrow. Whoosh! The next moment, the arrow shot out. The arrow instantly arrived in front of young Master Shuiyu. Both sides were too close, and young Master Shuiyu had no way of dodging. Break! Young Master Shuiyu waved his war spear to block the arrow. However, when his spear hit the arrow, it didn't fly away. The arrow was too powerful, and it didn't change direction at all. The next moment, Puchi, Divine Sunshot Arrow. It pierced through young Master Shuiyu's chest. Blood. Instantly, blood gushed out. Chapter 45-42. How can this be? Young Master Shuiyu looked at the bloody hole in his chest. Disbelief was still written all over his face. He hadn't expected such an outcome at all. He had thought that he would be able to kill Lin Feng, but in the end, he had died at Lin Feng's hands instead. This was a huge blow to young Master Shuiyu. Young Master Shuiyu is lost. Young Master Shuiyu's chest has been pierced. That arrow has completely destroyed his life force. He's dead for sure. Who is that kid? Even young Master Shuiyu isn't his match. Isn't this too inconceivable? Young Master Shuiyu is one of the 8 great young masters of the undying world. He's an extraordinary person, but now he's on the verge of death. This matter will definitely cause a huge uproar. Countless cultivators were discussing this matter. The scene before their eyes was too shocking. Until now, everyone could not believe what they were seeing with their own eyes. Young Master Shuiyu's chest had been pierced by an arrow. He was one of the top experts of the undying world's younger generation. It was very difficult to find someone in the younger generation who could contend against him. Many people believed that he was destined to walk the path of a paragon in the future. But that wasn't the case at all. From the looks of it, young Master Shuiyu wouldn't be able to survive. What an incredible scene. But now, it was happening right before their eyes. They had no choice but to believe it. At this moment, the sun-slaying divine arrow that had pierced through young Master Shuiyu's chest flew back to Lin Feng's hand. Everyone looked at the Hoi Bao and sun-slaying divine arrow in Lin Feng's hands. Lin Feng's cultivation base was very high, but in the eyes of the crowd, it was very difficult for him to kill young Master Shuiyu with just his cultivation base. Lin Feng's Hoi Bao and sun-slaying divine arrow had played a huge role. However, nobody knew that Lin Feng had the Hoi Bao and sun-slaying divine arrow. I've seen that kid before. He's Lin Baiyan's son, Lin Feng. The treasures in his hands are the legendary Hoi Bao and sun-slaying divine arrow. What? He's Lin Feng? Is that giant Bao the legendary Hoi Bao? That arrow is the sun-slaying divine arrow? So many people are looking for him, yet he still dares to show himself in a place like Heaven Peak City? How audacious! Wasn't it said that Lin Feng relied on the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman to unleash the might of the Hoi Bao? This time, he didn't even activate the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman, but he was able to unleash the power of the Hoi Bao. It seems that the rumors from before were just baseless rumors. When Lin Feng's identity was exposed, countless cultivators began to discuss among themselves. Many people looked at Lin Feng with cold eyes. If they captured Lin Feng and handed him over to Di Wudao, how many benefits would they get? Furthermore, if he could capture Lin Feng, supreme treasures like the Hoi Bao and the sun-slaying divine arrows would be his. Therefore, many people wanted to capture Lin Feng and Di Wudao immediately. However, no one acted rashly, because, with Lin Feng holding the Hoi Bao, the sun-slaying divine arrow was too powerful. How difficult would it be to suppress Lin Feng? If they were targeted by Lin Feng, only death would await them. Therefore, many people continued to wait and see. Young Master Shuiyu also heard the discussions of the surrounding cultivators. Young Master Shuiyu didn't expect the person in front of him to be Lin Feng. He had come here to capture Lin Feng. He had used Lin Feng's undying bloodline as a catalyst to refine pills. And now, he had finally met Lin Feng. But the result was extremely cruel to him. Brat, you're very good. You're much stronger than I imagined. If you were weak, then it wouldn't be fun. Now that this young master has some interest in you, this young master will slowly play you to death. If I kill you directly, then it would be too boring. Young Master Xueyu looked at Lin Feng and said. Lin Feng frowned. Young Master Xueyu's life force was completely gone. But yet, he still said such inexplicable words. Lin Feng was extremely puzzled. He didn't know what young Master Xueyu meant. Many people were also muttering. Everyone was puzzled by young Master Xueyu's words. Young Master Xueyu said, Do you think that this is the extent of my strength? That's where you're wrong. This is just an avatar of mine. It doesn't even have 1/100th of my battle prowess. If my true body were to appear, you wouldn't even have a chance to attack. Avatar? Many people couldn't help but be extremely surprised. No one had thought that this body was only an avatar. This body was very terrifying, but it was only an avatar. It was inconceivable. But thinking about it carefully, although this body was powerful, it wasn't so powerful that it could defy the heavens. If young Master Xueyu, one of the 8 great young masters of the undying world, only had this much strength, it wouldn't make sense. Shameless boasting. If I can kill your avatar, I can kill your true body as well. The taste of death must be very unpleasant, right? Don't worry, you've only died once. I'll let you experience it again. Lin Feng sneered. We'll know who's going to kill who when the time comes. Young Master Xueyu said indifferently. Then, he fell head first to the ground. Young Master Xueyu's aura was gone. He couldn't be more dead. But at that moment, something strange happened. Young Master Xueyu's body began to change. Before long, his body turned into a stone statue. Lin Feng was extremely shocked. It seemed that young Master Xueyu's avatar had been refined from a stone statue. Of course, this was just an ordinary stone statue. It couldn't be compared to Lin Feng's 9 orifices stone statue. The 9 orifices stone statue was one of the strongest among the stone statue race. Until now, there hadn't been any other stone statue race that could surpass it. Lin Feng put away his spear and took off young Master Xueyu's storage ring. Lin Feng took out his heavenly flame and burned young Master Xueyu's avatar to ashes. Is there anyone else who wants to die? Come over. I'll send him down to meet young Master Xueyu. Lin Feng looked around indifferently. He'd already felt a lot of hostility and killing intent, but he wasn't afraid. Everyone who met Lin Feng's gaze couldn't help lowering their heads or looking away. No one dared to meet Lin Feng's gaze. Lin Feng didn't continue to stay here. He quickly flew away. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. But Lin Feng didn't notice that someone was silently following him out of the city. 6th update. Chapter 45-43. The Undying World. The barren sky ridge. This was a boundless forest. Deep within the forest, the power of desolation permeated the air. Desolation was a terrifying power that could change the flow of time. Time could be sped up or slowed down. Ever since Zishu of the primordial era, no one had dared to enter the 9th peak of the barren sky ridge. But today, someone stepped into the barren sky ridge. It was a man with disheveled hair. He was like a wild man. The barren sky ridge was one of the 7 death traps of the undying world. The creatures here were terrifying. But, at this moment, the creatures in the barren sky ridge hid in the dark, trembling. Who is he? The creatures in the barren sky ridge trembled. They were afraid. They were afraid that the savage existence would find them and kill them. Over the years, there had been very few things that could make them feel afraid. But now, their souls were trembling. The savage came to the deepest part of the barren sky ridge. Who are you? What are you doing here? A voice was heard. Generally speaking, cultivators from the outside who dared to enter the barren sky ridge wouldn't have a good ending. But the savage came to the barren sky ridge. The creatures in the barren sky ridge didn't dare attack him. I'm here to see Emperor Huang, the savage said. Wait, see Heavenly Emperor Huang? His Majesty Celestial Emperor Huang is in a deep slumber. If you want to see him, wait 100 years until he wakes up. Then come back. The being said, Emperor Huang, my patience is limited. Do you think you can send me away with a subordinate? If you don't come out, I'll dye the barren sky ridge red with blood. Savage said with an indifferent expression. At this time, Another voice was heard. Why are you looking for me? I don't want to see you. You're an omen, Emperor Huang. I need to enter a world where time is reversed. Lend me a helping hand. Send me to the world where time is reversed, the savage said. A world where time is reversed? What kind of world is this? I don't know what you're talking about. You've got the wrong person. Leave now. Emperor Huang, I'm not negotiating with you. I'm ordering you. Either you help me. Either I'll cripple you. The savage's voice was very cold. He was very domineering. His words made countless beings in the barren sky ridge feel disbelief. Who is this guy? He actually dared to talk about crippling Heavenly Emperor Huang. As the ruler of the barren heaven ridge, Heavenly Emperor Huang was definitely one of the top experts in the universe. Even in the wasteland world, they could compete with the ruler of the wasteland world. This guy in front of him actually dared to say that he would cripple Heavenly Emperor Huang? Wasn't this a little too pretentious? How could Heavenly Emperor Huang tolerate such arrogance in front of him? Based on Heavenly Emperor Huang's temper, he was about to kill this guy. Even if they couldn't kill him, they would teach him a lesson and let him know whose territory the desolate sky ridge belonged to. However, something unexpected happened. Heavenly Emperor Huang did not make a move. Heavenly Emperor Huang said coldly, "You think too highly of yourself? If we really fought, do you think I'd be afraid of you? Moreover, if I'm not wrong, the death shackles still exist in your body. Your strength has been restrained by the death shackles. The more strength you awaken, the more pain you'll suffer. It'll be a fate worse than death." Those terrifying existences rarely use death imprisonment on others because it's a great loss to them. However, since they've used it on you, it seems like they really think highly of you. I know that you've been by Lin Chi's side for many years, but now it seems that you're not as simple as a follower. A follower shouldn't have allowed those people to deliberately use death imprisonment on you. Enough? The savage's voice suddenly turned cold. Heavenly Emperor Huang. Everyone thinks that the second Heavenly Emperor has passed away, but how many people know that he faked his death? After faking his death, he hid in the barren sky ridge. I don't mind having a real corpse in your empty grave. Is that so? Let's give it a try then. As soon as he finished speaking, boundless power of desolation gushed out from the deepest abyss of the barren sky ridge. The power of desolation swallowed the savage whole. Suddenly, the violently tumbling power of desolates transformed into a gigantic beast. That huge, ferocious beast opened its bloody mouth and tried to devour the barbarians. However, at that moment, the savage's eyes flashed coldly. He took a step forward, and an unimaginably terrifying aura emanated from his body. The terrifying aura suppressed the beast formed by the power of desolation. The ferocious beast formed by the power of desolates instantly collapsed. You, Heavenly Emperor Huang's voice suddenly changed. I'll send you there, he said. He didn't continue fighting with the savage. The Heavenly Court. The Heavenly Emperor, who was cultivating in the Heavenly Emperor Palace, suddenly opened his eyes. He looked in the direction of the barren sky ridge. There's movement in the barren sky ridge. The Heavenly Emperor couldn't help but frown. As the master of the undying world, the Heavenly Emperor had always been seeking transcendence. His method of seeking transcendence was actually very simple. It was to completely merge with the undying world. That way, he could transcend immortality and become a saint. However, it seemed simple, but it was too difficult to do. The Heavenly Emperor had been working hard. However, he couldn't succeed. However, the Heavenly Emperor felt that his opportunity was about to arrive. This feeling was very strong. But what was the so-called opportunity? The Heavenly Emperor didn't know yet. However, the Heavenly Emperor knew one thing. When the time was right, everything would be revealed. The barren sky ridge was a land of death in the undying world. The Heavenly Emperor was very wary of it, because the Heavenly Emperor had contact with the mastermind. Those lands of death were places that the mastermind couldn't reach. Everything in the world was about the cycle of karma. The Heavenly Emperor had a private deal with the mastermind, so there was a lot of karma involved. Therefore, the Heavenly Emperor couldn't enter the lands of death in the undying world. Of course, even if he could enter, the Heavenly Emperor wouldn't easily enter the lands of death, because the lands of death were too dangerous. He didn't want to put himself in such a dangerous place. But today, the strange movement in the barren sky ridge attracted the Heavenly Emperor's attention. Maybe I should go out for a walk. The Heavenly Emperor narrowed his eyes. The next moment, the Heavenly Emperor disappeared from the Emperor's throne. Today's diagnosis is gastritis, intestinal dysfunction, and colitis. Staying in the hospital for half a day and still making it to the 7th update is really not easy. They prescribed a lot of medicine and spent a total of 600 to 700 yuan. That's a lot of money. Old Mantu needs to work hard to write and earn money. Right now, we're only 20,000 points away from the 5th place on the popularity leaderboard. Brothers, let's work hard to surpass them. Chapter 45-44. Lin Feng naturally didn't know what happened in the desolate sky ridge. Of course, Lin Feng had been looking forward to reuniting with Savage, because Savage was Lin Feng's Dao protector. He was one of the closest people to Lin Feng in this world. Other than that, Savage told Lin Feng that he had something that belonged to Lin Qi, and those things were to be given to Lin Feng. Back then, Lin Feng's cultivation wasn't enough, so Savage didn't give those things to Lin Feng. But it was different now. Lin Feng's cultivation had already broken through to the Emperor Master Realm. Even in the Undying Realm, he already had the power to protect himself. So, the current Lin Feng, he was no longer the same as before. If the Savage saw Lin Feng again, he would be furious. Savage could also be at ease to give the things that Lin Qi left behind to Lin Feng. Of course, the prerequisite for all of this was that Lin Feng had to see Savage. But the key was, Lin Feng didn't know when he would be able to see Savage. Lin Feng naturally hoped that it would be as soon as possible. But Lin Feng also knew that this couldn't be rushed. He was still waiting for the chance to meet Savage. After leaving Sky Peak City, Lin Feng didn't return to Xia Family Village. He planned to deal with High Lord Umo. As young Master Yuanshan's father, High Lord Umo would definitely not let it go after knowing that young Master Yuanshan was killed by him. This guy might take the initiative to attack. High Lord Umo was one of the top 10 rogue cultivators in Xin Domain. To be able to bear such a title, what level of cultivation was he? Peak Sky Immortal? Or a quasi-true immortal? Lin Feng felt. High Lord Umo was most likely a quasi-true immortal. So, Lin Feng had to make the first move. If he made a move later, he might suffer. And Lin Feng had already thought of a way to deal with High Lord Umo. Lin Feng flew quickly in the forest. Suddenly, a pitch-black demonic bell flew out from the void. The appearance of the demonic bell was too sudden. Lin Feng hadn't noticed it before. Clearly, someone was hiding in the dark and launched a sneak attack on Lin Feng. Moreover, the other party's methods were extremely superb. He had completely fooled Lin Feng. The demonic bell exuded a powerful devouring power and shrouded Lin Feng. It wanted to devour Lin Feng. Lin Feng wanted to avoid being swallowed by the demonic bell. His body quickly moved horizontally. However, Lin Feng discovered that the surrounding void was actually imprisoned by the demonic bell. Clearly, the demonic bell was an extremely powerful treasure. Lin Feng used the heaven patching technique. He planned to use the heaven mending technique to resolve the crisis before him. However, runes flew out of the demonic bell and sealed the surrounding void. Lin Feng's heaven patching technique was greatly affected. As a result, his heaven patching technique also failed. This made Lin Feng extremely depressed. In the next moment, the demonic bell swallowed Lin Feng. Around him was a world of darkness. Lin Feng felt that this place was a space of its own. He flew around, but he couldn't touch the demonic bell's wall. It was really strange. Ha 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 ha, kid. No matter how powerful your methods are, aren't you still going to be captured by us? Let's just refine this kid to death and take his treasure. Don't. This kid is quite valuable. If we sell him to Diwu Dao, we'll definitely be able to get a good price. Not bad, not bad. This idea is quite good. Several voices came from outside. There seemed to be a total of 4 people. These 4 people were able to use their treasures to devour Lin Feng. From this, one could see how extraordinary their methods were. Hearing the voices of the 4 people outside, Lin Feng's face was rather gloomy. Now that he was trapped in the demonic bell, it was extremely difficult to escape. How could he escape? This gave Lin Feng a headache. At this moment, cursing sounds suddenly came from outside. *Tsich, hurry up and return the treasure to us. It was unknown what had happened outside, but judging from the voices, it seemed that the treasures in the hands of the 4 cultivators had been snatched away. In the next moment, Lin Feng felt the world around him shake violently. After a moment of dizziness, Lin Feng flew out of the demonic bell. Then, he saw a familiar figure. This person was none other than Hua Lingxian. Fairy Lingxian. So it's you. Thank you for saving me. In the future, just say the word, and I will definitely not frown even if I have to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of fire. Lin Feng said. Hua Lingxian said with a smile. All right, I'll remember this. *Tsh, you actually let this kid out. We're not done with you. Hurry up and return the treasure to us. Otherwise, we'll teach you a lesson. We'll capture you and sell you to a brothel. No, no, no. Selling her to a brothel is too easy for her. She should be sold to a military camp and become an official prostitute. The 4 cultivators shouted angrily one by one. Now, Lin Feng had a good look at these 4 people. These 4 cultivators all looked extremely ugly. One of them was very fat, about 500 to 600 pounds. Fatso was only about 200 pounds. Compared to this big Fatso in front of him, they were too far apart. One of them was very thin, so thin that he was only skin and bones. A gust of wind seemed to be able to blow him away. One of them was a cripple. One of them had deformed hands. These 4 people were really an extremely strange combination. However, Lin Feng did not dare to underestimate these 4 people. At this moment, the 4 of them looked at Hua Lingxian angrily. This was because their demonic bell was currently floating in front of Hua Lingxian. That demonic bell treasure seemed to be controlled by Hua Lingxian. They did not know what method Hua Lingxian had used. It was really shocking. Who are you people? Lin Feng looked at the 4 people in front of him with an indifferent expression. Kid, you don't even know us? Cripple looked at Lin Feng in disbelief. Damn, this kid is so ignorant. Fatso said. Is this kid a country bumpkin from the corner of the country? Skinny said. Definitely. He doesn't even know us. He's a country bumpkin among country bumpkins. The guy with deformed hands echoed. Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes and said, Are the 4 of you very famous? Why should I know you? Are you deliberately trying to make us angry? Is that why you said you don't know us? Cripple asked. Fatso said. That must be it. This guy must be pretending not to know us. Skinny said. If that's the case, this guy is really a scheming guy. The guy with deformed hands said, As the saying goes, wisdom and handsomeness coexist. This guy is so ugly. He must be a retard. It's normal for a retard not to recognize us. That's right. That must be it. The other 3 agreed. Cripple said, Kid, remember this? The 4 of us are the 4 handsome guys known as the Demiurge Flawed 4 heroes. Hearing Cripple's self-introduction, Lin Feng almost coughed up blood. He was handsome, but these 4 freaks called him ugly. These 4 freaks were so ugly that they did not even look human anymore. How dare they call themselves the 4 handsome guys? Could they be any more shameless? P.S. Brothers, the ranking on August 25th is starting. Today's topic is, whose domineering aura is unrivaled? Whose main character can compete with Lin Feng in terms of domineering aura? Everyone, click on the Participate in the Topic and Post-Plot button below to write the book reviews you want to write. It is very important to write a book review at the top of the leaderboard. Please help Old Mantu continue to hit the leaderboard. He is currently ranked 9th. Please don't drop down. Everyone, remember to do the various missions in the daily missions. Old Mantu thanks everyone. Chapter 45-45. Of course, Lin Feng would not argue with the 4 of them on looks. In fact, Lin Feng felt that the 4 of them were lacking in intelligence. To put it bluntly, they were not very bright. To put it bluntly, they were somewhat retarded. So you are the Demiurge Flawed 4 freaks. At this moment, Hua Lingxian seemed to remember the identities of the 4 of them. She looked extremely surprised. The Demiurge flawed 4 heroes have become the Demiurge flawed 4 freaks? Lin Feng could not help but be a little dumbfounded. Obviously, the Demiurge flawed 4 freaks should be what others called them. The Demiurge flawed 4 heroes was the name that they gave themselves. For heroes sounded much better than 4 freaks. Bullsh asterisk T? Who are you calling the Demiurge flawed 4 freaks? We are the Demiurge flawed 4 heroes, can't you see? The 4 of us brothers are each more handsome than the other. Cripple immediately shouted. That's right, we are all handsome. No man in the world is more handsome than the Demiurge flawed 4 heroes. The Demiurge flawed 4 heroes is a name given to us by our friends in the cultivation world. We didn't call ourselves that. You have to understand that. Besides, we are really handsome. The other 3 could not help but shout as well. Seeing the Demiurge flawed 4 freaks' behavior, Lin Feng could basically confirm that. The 4 of them, they were indeed retarded. They were very powerful. However, since their brains were not that good, it would naturally be much easier to deal with them. So you are the famous Demiurge flawed 4 heroes. My admiration for the 4 of you is like the endless torrential river. It is also like the overflowing water of the Milky Way that cannot be stopped. Today, I am so lucky to be able to meet the 4 dragons of the Demiurge flawed 4 heroes. It is really a blessing that I have accumulated in my previous life. Lin Feng held a fist salute and flattered the Demiurge flawed 4 freaks. The Demiurge flawed 4 freaks were not very bright and acted in an extremely strange manner. Most of the time, they were also ruthless. Therefore, usually, no one was willing to deal with them. Many people defined them as evil cultivators. However, even the evil cultivators were unwilling to have too much to do with them. Firstly, it was because the 4 of them were capricious. Perhaps because he had offended the 4 of them with a single sentence, he had been killed by them. It wasn't like such a thing hadn't happened before. Secondly, many people thought that the Demiurge flawed 4 freaks were just 4 idiots. Dealing with them really lowered his IQ. Therefore, many people disdained to deal with the 4 Demiurge flawed monsters. Because of this, no one praised the demon-crippled 4 freaks. As for the Demiurge flawed 4 monsters, they were very vain. How they wished that someone would praise the 4 of them. The 4 of them had no one to flatter them to begin with, yet they wanted to be flattered. Now that they were flattered by Lin Feng, the 4 of them were on cloud 9. Furthermore, Lin Feng's way of flattering people was too awesome, too fresh and free from vulgarity. For example, this sentence. This little brother's respect for the 4 of you is like the endless torrential river, like the overflowing water of the Milky Way, out of control. In the eyes of the Demiurge flawed 4 eccentrics, if they did not admire them from the bottom of their hearts, they admired them. How could they say such touching words? Brother, we're really sorry just now. The 4 of us didn't know that you were our fan. If we knew, we definitely wouldn't have attacked you, said the cripple. The big fatso said, that's right, that's right. The 4 of us have always treated our fans as our own brothers. The skinny guy said, brother, you really have high standards. The 4 of us are the heartthrobs of millions. No wonder you admire us so much. Hee hee, this brother seems to be the kind of person who has a discerning eye for heroes. It's normal for him to be attracted by our imposing temperament, said the guy with deformed hands. Hua Lingxian, who was standing aside, was completely dumbfounded. Previously, when she found out that the 4 of them were the famous Demiurge flawed 4 monsters, Hua Lingxian felt that the Demiurge flawed 4 monsters would definitely not let it go. Because the Demiurge flawed 4 monsters were very ruthless. Anyone who was hated by the Demiurge flawed 4 monsters would definitely fight to the death in the end. To put it bluntly, although the Demiurge flawed 4 monsters were not very smart, they were definitely vengeful people. However, who would have thought that Lin Feng would praise the Demiurge flawed 4 monsters, and the hostility of the Demiurge flawed 4 monsters immediately disappeared. However, when she thought about how Lin Feng praised the Demiurge flawed 4 monsters, Hua Lingxian immediately felt goosebumps all over her body. This guy, how could he have the nerve to say such things? Although I've admired the 4 of you for a long time, your names are a secret. How should I address you? Asked Lin Feng, said the cripple. My name is Tian Ke, said the big fatso. My name is Tian Sanyu, said the skinny guy. My name is Tian Sankoan, said the guy with deformed hands. My name is Tian Kansho. When the guy with deformed hands introduced himself, Lin Feng could not help but glance at his hands. This guy's name was Tian Kansho. His name. It matched his body quite well. Brother Lin, since you're our fan, we won't pursue the matter of your friend stealing our demonic bell. Ask your friend to return it to us, said Tian Sanyu. In fact, the guy's name made Lin Feng grind his teeth. This guy was as fat as a mountain, yet he had the nerve to call himself Tian Sanyu, said Tian Sankuan. Just take it yourself. Why bother Brother Lin? As soon as Tian Sankuan finished speaking, his deformed hands formed a few seals. Then, the demonic bell quickly flew toward them. Lin Feng could not help but frown when he saw this. It seemed that the four of them could control the demonic bell. However, after Hua Lingxian took the demonic bell, they did not take the initiative to take it back. Instead, they asked Hua Lingxian to give it to them. Only the four of them wanted it. The thoughts of the four of them were not something an ordinary person could guess. Brother Lin, where are you going? Asked Tian Sanyu. I'm planning to do something fun. Are you guys interested in joining me? Lin Feng looked at the four demonic beasts and said. The four demonic beasts were very powerful. Lin Feng felt that he could bring them along to deal with High Lord Umo. If he had their help, then the chances of killing Umo's supremacy would greatly increase. Chapter 45-46. Kill someone. What do you think? Lin Feng said. Kill someone? What's so fun about that? The demiurge-flawed four freaks couldn't help but mutter. They had killed many people. Countless people were afraid of them. Therefore, they didn't find killing fun. Is it challenging to kill the top 10 wandering cultivators in Sin Domain? Lin Feng said with a smile. The demiurge-flawed four freaks' eyes lit up. Then, the demiurge-flawed four freaks nodded and said, I'm interested. Life is only fun when there are more challenges. If everything stays the same, what's the point of it? Although the demiurge-flawed four freaks weren't very smart, their thoughts were quite advanced. Hua Lingxian looked at Lin Feng in surprise. She had already guessed who Lin Feng wanted to kill. Among the top 10 wandering cultivators in Sin Domain, Lord Umo clearly had a grudge against Lin Feng. This was because Lin Feng had killed young Master Yuanshan not long ago. This was a grudge for his son's death. It seemed like Lin Feng wanted to make the first move. Hua Lingxian admired Lin Feng very much. Although Lin Feng was young, he was powerful, bold, and meticulous. His methods of doing things were quite shrewd. Hua Lingxian couldn't help but feel curious. How many things had Lin Feng experienced over the years to be so shrewd? Lin Feng then looked at Hua Lingxian and said, Fairy, why don't we go over there and have a chat? Hua Lingxian nodded. Hey. The young couple wants to avoid us and go get intimate in private, right? Seeing Lin Feng and Hua Lingxian leave together, Tian Sanyu immediately grinned and shouted, Kiss her slowly later. Don't kiss her until her lips are swollen. It won't look good if it's swollen. Tian Sanyu said, Hee, I think Hua Lingxian is pretty. Even if her lips are swollen, she'll still look good. Tian Sanyu said seriously, Of course. Don't you know who Brother Lin's idol is? Brother Lin's idol is us, the Broken Heaven Four Heroes. Think about it, Brother Lin's taste is extraordinary. Therefore, the woman that Brother Lin likes is naturally the best. Not to mention her mouth. Even if her whole body is swollen, she will still be beautiful. Broken Heaven said. After hearing this, Lin Feng and Hua Lingxian felt extremely helpless. However, Hua Lingxian did not want to argue with the demiurge-flawed four eccentrics. After all, the demiurge-flawed four eccentrics were not particularly smart. If they were to argue with them, who knew what kind of foul language they would spew out? Wouldn't they be angered to death? Hua Lingxian's pretty face blushed slightly. Although she didn't choose to argue with the demon-crippled four monsters, she was still a demon-crippled four. However, Hua Lingxian couldn't help but feel shy after hearing the demiurge-flawed four eccentrics' words. After all, she was a woman. What the four demon-crippled eccentrics said was too shameless. Lin Feng and Hua Lingxian walked to the side and looked at Hua Lingxian. It had to be said that looking at Hua Lingxian at such a close distance made her even more stunning. Only then did he realize how beautiful Hualingxian was. Hualingxian was like a flower fairy that was born from thousands of flowers. When he was with her, he felt like he was in the middle of thousands of flowers. It was an extremely comfortable feeling. Lin Feng asked, "May I know why Fairy is helping me?" He. Hualingxian immediately laughed and said, "I knew you would ask this." Lin Feng smiled. Hualingxian continued, "Some of your old friends have already arrived at the ancestral land of the demons. Do you know about them?" Old friends? Lin Feng was surprised. Could it be the Peacock King, the Rock King, and the others? Lin Feng asked in surprise. Hualingxian nodded and said, "It's not just them. There's also the Fire Qilin, Feng Yaorao, and the others. I've heard them mention you, but I didn't expect to see you in the Undying Realm. When I heard them mention your identity, I was also extremely surprised. They described you as extraordinary, but when I saw you, I realized that you're even more extraordinary than they described," said Lin Feng while smiling. Hualingxian was praising him and Lin Feng was happy to accept it. This was because he was such an extraordinary person. Was there anything that he was embarrassed to admit? Excessive modesty was arrogance. "Where are they?" asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng continued to ask. "The Peacock King, the Rock King, and the Fire Qilin have been found by a patriarch. They're probably going to send them to a secret place to undergo a bloodline baptism. Feng Yaorao and the others have been found by my master. My master plans to train them well." Hualingxian said, "I didn't expect the patriarchs of the demons' ancestral land to treat them so well." Lin Feng exclaimed. Hualingxian said, "It's all because of their great potential." Hearing this, Lin Feng was slightly stunned. Then, he nodded. It was indeed as Hualingxian had said. The world of cultivators was a very cruel and realistic world. No matter what your identity was, if you didn't have talent, no one would pay attention to you, unless you had enough talent to attract others. As for talent, it was obviously something that many top-notch experts valued. After some time, I plan to go to the ancient demon continent to take a look. When the time comes, I hope you can recommend me," Lin Feng said. Hualingxian nodded and said, "Of course, but you have to be careful from now on. Once your identity is exposed, there are truly too many people who want to deal with you. However, you'll be safer with the 4 Demiurge Flawed Freaks by your side. The 4 Demiurge Flawed Freaks' origins are extremely extraordinary." "Oh? What's their origin?" Lin Feng asked curiously. "Have you heard of the Demiurge Flawed Valley?" Hualingxian asked. "Demiurge Flawed Valley?" Lin Feng frowned slightly. He hadn't been in the Undying Realm for long, so he didn't know much about the Undying Realm. The Demiurge Flawed Valley was the same. He had never heard of the Demiurge Flawed Valley. Lin Feng shook his head and asked, "What kind of place is the Demiurge Flawed Valley?" Hualingxian said, "The Demiurge Flawed Valley is a terrifying place. It's said that it's one of the most dangerous places in the Undying Realm because there are many terrifying existences living there." "Many terrifying existences living there? What kind of existences are they?" Lin Feng asked curiously. Hualingxian said, "I don't know, but it's said that those people have experienced many terrifying massacres in the past. In the end, they were lucky enough to survive. Some of them even experienced the Great War in the legends, such as the Great War of Gods and Demons at the end of the Primordial Age." Hearing this, Lin Feng was extremely shocked. If what Hualingxian said was true, then the Demiurge Flawed Valley was too extraordinary. It was definitely a terrifying place. Chapter 45-47. Hualingxian continued, "It's a forbidden area. Outsiders are not allowed to enter the Zen Valley. Moreover, there's a secret rule in the Undying Realm. Anyone who is being hunted down and manages to escape to the Zen Valley will be forgiven." "Oh, there's such a rule?" Lin Feng was very surprised. Hualingxian nodded and continued, "However, it's not that easy to enter the Zen Valley. It's said that one has to go through an extremely strict test to enter the Zen Valley. As for those who fled to the remnant Sky Valley, 99% of them failed the test." "Damn, the probability of passing the test is too low," Lin Feng said. Then, he asked, "If I fail the test, will I be sent out?" Hualingxian said, No. Those who fail the test all die during the test. Lin Feng was surprised. Does this mean that 99% of the people who escape to the Zen Valley will still die? However, escaping to the Zen Valley was still a hope. They hoped that they could pass the test and survive it, although many people knew that it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. However, as long as there was a glimmer of hope, they would not give up. Lin Feng asked curiously, what about the 4 demiurge-flawed freaks? What's their status in the Zen Valley? Hualingxian said, the 4 demiurge-flawed freaks are probably the descendants of some people in the Zen Valley. The 4 of them are very powerful. All of them should have reached the heaven immortal realm. Lin Feng nodded. He could sense that the 4 demiurge-flawed freaks were all at the heaven immortal realm. Moreover, the 4 demiurge-flawed freaks were not very old. In fact, they were not very old. Each of them was only a little over 1,000 years old. This was enough to show how talented the 4 demiurge-flawed freaks were. Most people don't dare to provoke them. Firstly, the demiurge-flawed 4 monsters are very powerful. Secondly, the demiurge-flawed valley behind the demiurge-flawed 4 monsters is a force that no one wants to provoke. In the past, someone suggested to the Heaven Emperor that we should flatten the Zen Valley, because the Zen Valley was inhabited by cultivators who had survived the war. Most of them were injured and disabled. That's how the Zen Valley got its name. These people have a lot of wealth, supreme treasures, and even the most ancient immortal sutras. Of course, they are a fat sheep. If we can flatten the Zen Valley, we can get a lot of good stuff. The Celestial Emperor is tempted. Send the army to deal with the Zen Valley. At that time, the one leading the army was the Heavenly Emperor's second brother. You might not know much about the Heavenly Emperor's brothers, but the Heavenly Emperor has 2 brothers. The second brother is called Di Daoqiang, and his cultivation is unfathomable. As for the third brother, you should have heard of him. He is the current undying world's world lord. Back then, Di Daoqiang led an army full of confidence against the remnant Heaven Valley. In the end, Di Daoqiang died in that battle. After hearing this, Lin Feng was slightly moved. It seemed like the feud between the Zen Valley and the Heavenly Emperor was irreconcilable. The Heavenly Emperor was furious. However, he had no choice but to withdraw the army because the price of forcefully destroying the Zen Valley was too great. The Heavenly Emperor was a calculative person, so in the end, he chose to stop the war. However, this matter clearly won't end like this. If the Heavenly Emperor finds a breakthrough, he will definitely destroy the Zen Valley. However, the Zen Valley is impregnable. The Heavenly Emperor can't destroy it just because he wants to. Right now, it is good for you to interact with the 4 monsters. If you have the chance to go to the Zen Valley in the future, maybe you can get some ancient immortal sutras and even some ancient weapons. After hearing this, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Maybe it was just like what Hualingxian said. At that time, he could go to the Zen Valley and get some ancient immortal sutras and weapons. Every time he cultivated an immortal sutra, his battle power would greatly increase. Moreover, he would have an extra trump card. Of course, this wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that Lin Feng needed to gather the strengths of many sects and create his own immortal sutra. The immortal sutra that Lin Feng wanted to create was the Supreme Immortal Sutra. How could he gather the strengths of many sects? At the very least, he needed to cultivate more immortal sutras. It seems like the Zen Valley is imperative. However, now is not the time. We can go there after some time. Lin Feng said. Of course, before going to the Zen Valley, it is best to increase your strength as much as possible. That place is a place that eats people without spitting out their bones. There are many heinous people there. If you don't have the strength, you won't even know how you died after entering the Zen Valley. Hualingxian said. Lin Feng nodded. Hualingxian said, let's say our goodbyes here. That's good. The Undying Realm isn't peaceful. Fairy, be careful when you're out there alone. Lin Feng said. You too. Hualingxian said. Then, she floated away. The beauty left, leaving behind her fragrance. Lin Feng turned back. Tian Sanyu said, why did that girl leave on her own? Brother Lin, could it be that you kissed her too hard? You kissed her away? Tian Sankuan said, that must be it. Brother Lin, you're too impatient. Women are like good wine. We have to slowly taste them to know what they taste like. Tian Sankuan Shou nodded in agreement and said, however, Brother Lin, you don't have to worry. The four of us are handsome men. We have countless methods to pick up girls. We can teach you some of them. We'll definitely let you know what it means to be a flower saint. Tian Sankuan said, what's the highest realm for a man? It's the same as the four of us. We can pass through thousands of flowers, but not a single leaf will stick to us. The four of them started to brag about themselves one after another. Said Lin Feng, the four of you are indeed dragons among men. With your earnest guidance, I will definitely be able to walk among 10,000 flowers and not be touched by a single leaf. Said Lin Feng, you are indeed dragons among men. With your earnest guidance, I will definitely be able to walk among 10,000 flowers without being touched by a single leaf. Ha ha ha, you're worth teaching. The Tian Sankuan four monsters grinned. Lin Feng and the Tian Sankuan four monsters didn't stay. They quickly left. Supreme Lord Umo resided in the ancient Umo city. This was a demon city. Many evil cultivators would head to this demon city. 1 month later, Lin Feng and the Tian Sankuan four monsters arrived at the ancient Umo city. This ancient city was huge. Demonic chi filled the air. It was extremely terrifying. Ordinary cultivators wouldn't dare to come here. Chapter 45-48. Of course, Lin Feng was not afraid of those who had their eyes on him. With Lin Feng's means, it would not be difficult for him to kill them. That kid seems to have the demiurge flawed four freaks with him. Don't act rashly. Someone recognized the demiurge flawed four freaks and warned them. The demiurge flawed four freaks were terrifying existences. Very few cultivators dared to offend them. Therefore, after seeing the demiurge flawed four freaks, the cultivators who recognized them quickly informed their companions. If they were blind enough to offend the demiurge flawed four freaks, they would be courting death. Lin Feng was with the demiurge flawed four freaks. Although they did not know who Lin Feng was, they knew that he was with them. When they thought about how Lin Feng was with the demiurge flawed four freaks, many of them thought that Lin Feng might be a powerful evil cultivator. Otherwise, how could he be with the demiurge flawed four freaks? What are the demiurge flawed four freaks doing in the ancient Umo city? Someone could not help but mutter. Even in the eyes of those evil cultivators, the demiurge flawed four freaks were definitely one of the people that they did not want to interact with. Are we going to stay here? Demiurge flawed hands asked. Tian Sanyu said, it's best if we have a big meal first. I wonder if there's anything good in this place. Lin Feng guessed that Tian Sanyu probably weighed around 500 or 600 jin, and that was how much he ate. That weight was just too shocking. However, Lin Feng was also a glutton, so he agreed with Tian Sanyu's suggestion. Said Lin Feng, let's eat and drink, then we'll go and kill people. Let's go and eat first, then we'll leave immediately. There's no need to stay in this place. It's not good for your social status. The four freaks were delighted when they heard Lin Feng's flattery. Demiurge Flawed Hands said, that's right. Who are we? How can we stay here? The other three quickly nodded. Lin Feng and the Demiurge Flawed four freaks arrived at the most luxurious restaurant. A large number of evil cultivators had gathered here. After seeing the Demiurge Flawed four freaks, many cultivators who were talking immediately shut up. Many people even stood up and looked at the demon-crippled four freaks in awe. Although the demon-crippled four eccentrics were somewhat retarded, no one dared to underestimate them. The four of them were terrifying. Perhaps many people were secretly disdainful of the demon-crippled four monsters. But in reality, those people did not dare to offend the demon-crippled four eccentrics. Offending the demiurge flawed four eccentrics was no different from seeking death. The four of you are really famous. Seeing the arrival of the four of you, these people are quite frightened. Lin Feng said. Many people cast sidelong glances at Lin Feng. Who was this brat? Why was his mouth so annoying? Would people take you for a mute if you didn't speak? However, no one dared to say these words out loud. Hee, of course. We, the demiurge flawed four monsters, are existences that can do whatever we want in the undying realm. The demiurge flawed four monsters said proudly. Lin Feng's group of 5 asked for a private room, and then ordered a table full of good wine and dishes. After eating and drinking to their fill, they headed towards the UMO palace where High Lord UMO lived. The news of young Master Yuanshan being killed had not spread in the UMO ancient city yet. This was because Heaven Peak City was relatively far from the UMO ancient city. However, High Lord UMO knew that young Master Yuanshan was killed because young Master Yuanshan had the origin spirit lamp. Young Master Yuanshan was killed. Young Master Yuanshan's origin spirit lamp would shatter. High Lord UMO would naturally know about this at the first moment. When young Master Yuanshan died, High Lord UMO was in seclusion. After the elder guarding the origin spirit lamp hall told the news of young Master Yuanshan's death to High Lord UMO flew into a rage and almost went berserk. Among his sons, he liked young Master Yuanshan the most. Now that young Master Yuanshan was killed, how could High Lord UMO not be angry? High Lord UMO sent people to investigate this matter. But until now, there was no news of feedback. Lin Feng told the Demiurge Flawed 4 monsters about his plan. Lin Feng planned to pretend to be a friend of young Master Yuanshan, then go to see High Lord UMO, and then launch a sneak attack on him. He asked the Demiurge Flawed 4 monsters to cooperate with him. The Demiurge Flawed 4 monsters naturally agreed. Furthermore, the Demiurge Flawed 4 monsters were extremely excited. After Lin Feng killed young Master Yuanshan, he actually swaggered to the UMO palace and pretended to be a friend of young Master Yuanshan. The UMO palace was located in the deepest part of the UMO ancient city. There were guards guarding this place, so ordinary people did not dare to come here. Lin Feng and the Demiurge Flawed 4 monsters arrived. Roar! The roars of fierce beasts came from afar, following which, more than 10 terrifying fierce beasts rushed over. On top of each fierce beast sat a cultivator. The cultivator in the lead was a demonic young man wearing a black robe. On his mount, there were 2 women lying on the ground. The 2 women's bodies were clearly imprisoned. They were around 16 or 17 years old, the same age as Flowers. They looked exactly the same. They were actually a pair of twin sisters. The 2 sisters wept unceasingly, as if there was nothing more sorrowful than a dead heart. "Third young master, you're back." When the guard saw that young master, he immediately went up to welcome him. He had a bowing expression. That young master's identity was extremely extraordinary. He was the 3rd son of Supremacy UMO, young Master Yao Yi. Young Master Yao Yi had always been vicious and merciless. So many people were extremely afraid of him. Young Master Yao Yi's hobbies were hunting and women. Therefore, young Master Yao Yi would often bring a group of subordinates to hunt in the mountains. Of course, the fierce beasts that young Master Yao Yi hunted were not ordinary beasts. They were extremely powerful spiritual beasts. This time, when he went out to hunt, young Master Yao Yi passed by a mountain village. He saw a pair of beautiful sisters. Then, he snatched this pair of beautiful sisters. He even slaughtered the entire mountain village. He was simply insane. However, young Master Yao Yi felt very excited. Now that young Master Yao Yi had returned, he couldn't wait to enjoy this pair of beautiful sisters. Young Master Yao Yi nodded to the guard. Then, he led a group of people into the UMO palace. At this moment, Lin Feng saw the helplessness, fear, and hatred in the depths of the sisters' eyes. "A human girl," Yi Futian murmured. Lin Feng frowned. He came here to kill Supremacy UMO. It was not appropriate to poke his nose into other people's business. But now, seeing that the pair of human sisters were about to be defiled by young Master Yao Yi, who was worse than a beast, he was naturally extremely angry and unable to bear it. Many forces felt that the human race did not have any experts. Therefore, they had always looked down on the human race. They had always bullied the human race. Did they really think that the human race was easy to bully? Seeing that these people were about to enter the UMO palace, Lin Feng coldly said, "Stop." Young Master Yao Yi stopped. Then, he looked at Lin Feng. He couldn't help but raise his brows slightly. A human cultivator actually dared to ask him to stop in front of the UMO palace. Did he not want to live anymore? "Brothers, have you completed your mission today? You are now ranked 8th. Everyone must complete your mission. Don't fall." Chapter 45-49. Kid, who do you think you are? How dare you be so rude in front of our young master? Are you tired of living? At that moment, a cultivator looked coldly at Lin Feng. F***ck, grandson. Who the F***ck do you think you are? How dare you make a fuss in front of brother Lin? Grandson, if you don't give us face in front of our brother Lin, you're not giving us face. No need to say anything else. Beat this grandson up and teach him a lesson. There's no time to lose. Let's do it now. When the Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks saw a cultivator yelling at Lin Feng, they were instantly enraged. In the Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks' eyes, they were close friends with Lin Feng. How could they let Lin Feng bully them? The four of them charged over and pulled the cultivator off the beast's back. You're courting death. The cultivator who was pulled down by the Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks was furious and wanted to punch the Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks. However, at that moment, the Demiurge Flawed Jade kicked the cultivator more than 10 meters away. Wah! The cultivator spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground, wailing in pain. However, the Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks didn't stop there. They charged at the cultivator who fell to the ground. Then, the four of them began to brutally beat up the cultivator who was lying on the ground. Save me, young master, save me. The cultivator begged for mercy miserably. If they didn't save him, he would really be beaten to death. Meanwhile, young Master Yao Yi looked at the scene with a gloomy face. One had to look at the master before beating the dog. Now, his subordinate was being bullied so badly. Moreover, this was the Serene Demon Palace. How dare they bully his people in his territory? Wasn't this a slap to his face? Therefore, young Master Yao Ye's face was as ugly as it could be. Some of the cultivators in the distance were shocked when they saw the situation. However, they didn't dare to get too close to the Serene Demon Palace. This was because the Serene Demon Palace was a forbidden area. They couldn't walk around as they pleased. Therefore, those cultivators only dared to watch the situation from afar. In the eyes of some cultivators, Lin Feng and the others were simply courting death by behaving atrociously in front of the Nether Devil Palace. Young Master Yao Yi would absolutely not let them off. Aren't those four the Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks? Someone couldn't help but mutter. That's right. It's the four demon crippling freaks. Those are the four monsters. Why are they here in the ancient city? Next, some other cultivators recognized the four Demiurge Flawed eccentrics and asked in confusion. The reputation of the Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks was quite resounding in the Undying Realm. However, it wasn't a good reputation, it was a bad reputation. Therefore, everyone was quite afraid of the Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks after seeing them. No one knew why the Demiurge Flawed Four eccentrics would come to the Nether Devil Palace and even clash with young Master Yao Yi. The cultivators in the distance were watching what was happening in front of the Serene Demon Palace with great interest. The Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks were not simple characters. They could naturally disregard young Master Yao Yi. In reality, there were many people who couldn't bear the sight of young Master Yao Yi. However, no matter how much they disliked young Master Yao Yi, no one dared to offend him. However, it was different today. The Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks had no problem dealing with young Master Yao Yi. It would be best if they could kill young Master Yao Yi. The reason why young Master Yao Yi was so hated was mainly because he was too ruthless. He had done too many immoral things. Moreover, he had harmed countless innocent women. If he wasn't hated by others, there would probably be no one else in the world who would be hated by others. Therefore, everyone couldn't wait for young Master Yao Yi to die without a burial ground. Because they were too far away, young Master Yao Yi couldn't hear the discussions in the distance. He also didn't know the identity of the Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks. Young Master Yao Yi said with an indifferent expression, "Reckless fools, attack and kill these 5 people." "Yes, young master." After receiving young Master Yao Ye's order, the group of people pounced on Lin Feng and the Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks like wolves and tigers. "For brothers, why don't we help Demon Supremacy you Demon Supremacy teach his disobedient son a lesson?" Lin Feng said. "Help Demon Supremacy you Demon Supremacy teach his son a lesson in front of the Nether Devil Palace? That would be too exciting." The Demiurge Flawed Four Freaks immediately roared in excitement and rushed towards young Master Yao Yi. Go to hell. At this time, young Master Yao Ye's subordinates quickly rushed over and fought against the demiurge-flawed four freaks. However, they were nothing before the demiurge-flawed four freaks. They were directly slapped away by the demiurge-flawed four freaks. One by one, they vomited blood in midair. Many of their bones had been broken. The injuries of those people were extremely serious. At this time, the cultivators finally realized how terrifying the cultivation of these four freaks was. Young Master Yao Yi couldn't help but be shocked. He didn't expect these four freaks to be so powerful. This level of cultivation caused him to feel a sense of trepidation. At this time, the demiurge-flawed four freaks who had dealt with the group of cultivators immediately rushed towards young Master Yao Yi. Young Master Yao Yi said in a deep voice, "What are you doing? Let me tell you. I'm the son of demon sovereign Umo. This is the Nether Demon Palace, the place where my father cultivates. If you dare to behave atrociously here, you're dead for sure." Young Master Yao Ye's threat couldn't scare the demiurge-flawed four freaks at all. The demiurge-flawed four freaks were famous for being fearless. Otherwise, they wouldn't have left the demiurge-flawed valley. This brat is quite arrogant. This brat really needs to be taught a lesson. We need to help Demon Sovereign Umo teach his son a lesson. That's right, Demon Sovereign Umo will be very grateful to us once he finds out. The demiurge-flawed four freaks continued to talk among themselves. They were rapidly approaching young Master Yao Yi. Young Master Yao Yi turned around and wanted to escape into the Nether Demon Palace. However, it was too late to run now. The demiurge-flawed four freaks had already rushed over and attacked young Master Yao Yi. How could young Master Yao Yi be a match for the demiurge-flawed four freaks? He was directly slapped away by the demiurge-flawed four freaks and vomited blood in the air. Then, he heavily fell to the ground. The demiurge-flawed four freaks rushed forward. They surrounded young Master Yao Yi in the middle. Bang, bang, bang. The demiurge-flawed four freaks were ruthless. They punched and kicked young Master Yao Yi. Young Master Yao Yi was screaming in pain. In the beginning, he still threatened them. However, young Master Yao Yi realized that the more he threatened the demiurge-flawed four freaks, the more ruthless they were. He no longer dared to threaten the demiurge-flawed four freaks and begged for mercy from them. However, the demiurge-flawed four freaks had no intention of letting him go. Young Master Yao Yi was foaming at the mouth from the demiurge-flawed four freaks as his body twitched. The spectators from afar wanted to see young Master Yao Yi being beaten to death. However, when they saw that young Master Yao Yi was about to be beaten to death by the demiurge-flawed four freaks, they couldn't help but smile bitterly. These four fellows are really ruthless. They still haven't stopped. Don't tell me they really want to beat young Master Yao Yi to death? Sixth update, brothers. The 8th most popular character is about to be overtaken by the 9th most popular character. Everyone, work harder. Don't let them overtake you. If you don't have any missions to do, go to the book review section and help me increase my points. If they overtake me, I'm going to cry. Chapter 45-50. Stop. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly resounded. After hearing this voice, the crowd was stunned. The demon-crippled four eccentrics immediately stopped. The owner of the voice was definitely a terrifying existence. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. Was Mr. Yu the demon going to show up? In the next moment, a middle-aged cultivator stepped out from the void. The middle-aged cultivator was clad in black robes, and the aura emanating from his body was extremely sinister and terrifying. "It's High Lord Yu Demon," many cultivators in the distance exclaimed. Supremacy Umo was the lord of the ancient Umo city. Although he was a demon Dao cultivator who stayed in the ancient Umo city all year round, he was still a demon Dao cultivator. Cultivators from the demon-crippled four eccentrics couldn't see High Lord Yu Demon often. Of course, it wasn't that they had never seen High Lord Yu Demon before. In fact, many of them had seen High Lord Yu Demon before because he would occasionally come out. Moreover, he was rather high-profile, so everyone naturally knew who he was. Now that High Lord Yu Demon had come out, there would be a good show to watch. However, no one knew how High Lord Yu Demon would deal with the demon-crippled four eccentrics and the human cultivator. "Are you High Lord Yu Demon?" We're helping you teach your son a lesson. As the saying goes, it's the father's fault for not teaching his son well. You don't want to discipline him, but as his elders, we don't mind disciplining him for you. Demon-crippled Heaven said with a calm expression. In reality, Demon-crippled Heaven was much younger than young Master Yao Yi, but he looked more mature. He looked older than Demon-crippled Heaven. However, one couldn't judge a person by their appearance alone. For example, there was an extremely strange life form in the world that was at their oldest when they were born. However, as time passed, they would become younger and younger. When they died, they would turn into babies. Of course, the demon-crippled four eccentrics weren't that old. However, the demon-crippled four eccentrics always spoke in an old-fashioned tone, which annoyed High Lord Yu Demon greatly, especially when young Master Yuan Shan was killed a while ago, and the results of that incident hadn't been sent back yet. And now, young Master Yao Yi was beaten half to death in front of the Nether Demon Palace. How could High Lord Yu Demon be in a good mood when his two sons ended up in such a state? Demon-crippled four eccentrics. You've gone too far. Do you think that I won't dare to touch you just because you have the Zen Valley behind you? Right now, those old geezers are hiding in the valley and don't dare to come out. Even if I kill all of you today, I still don't need to worry about them. High Lord Umo said coldly. His killing intent had indeed been aroused, and he was considering whether or not to make a move. Actually, this is a misunderstanding. The Demiurge-flawed four freaks were merely sparring with young Master Yao Yi. Who would have thought that they would accidentally knock young Master Yao Yi unconscious? It was an unintentional mistake. Why must you make such a big deal out of it, revered Lord? Yes, we made a mistake. We didn't do it on purpose. The Demiurge-flawed four monsters said hurriedly. If one were to say that the four of them were brainless, they were indeed brainless at times. However, the four of them were quite quick-witted at times. Just like now. However, when the cultivators in the distance heard Lin Feng's words, they could not help but roll their eyes. Obviously, Lin Feng's reason was too far-fetched. Was this treating Exalted Lord Yu Fiend like a monkey? Brat, who are you then? Exalted Lord Yu Fiend stared coldly at Lin Feng. Not only did he want to kill the Demiurge-flawed four freaks, but he also wanted to kill Lin Feng. After all, Lin Feng was in cahoots with the Demiurge-flawed four freaks. Fortunately, this fellow did not know that it was Lin Feng who had instigated the Demiurge-flawed four freaks to deal with young Master Yao Yi. If he knew, he would have probably attacked Lin Feng out of anger by now. Lin Feng said, I am young Master Yuan Shan's best friend. I am here to deliver young Master Yuan Shan's remnant to Exalted Lord. Young Master Yuan Shan's remnant? What is that brat talking about? How did young Master Yuan Shan's remnant become his remnant? Is young Master Yuan Shan dead? The cultivators in the distance exclaimed when they heard Lin Feng's words. They were unaware that young Master Yuan Shan had died. That brat shouldn't be talking nonsense. It seems like young Master Yuan Shan is really dead. Who killed young Master Yuan Shan? Who dares to kill young Master Yuan Shan? Aren't they afraid of Exalted Lord Yu Fiend's revenge? At this moment, the cultivators spoke in disbelief. Many of them began discussing in private. You are my son Yuan Shan's best friend. Why haven't I heard Yuan Shan mention you before? Exalted Lord Yu Fiend narrowed his eyes at Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled and said, Pardon me for being disrespectful, but did Exalted Lord Yu Fiend report everything to your parents and elders when you were young? Exalted Lord Yu Fiend raised his brows slightly. Indeed, Lin Feng's words made sense. After all, everyone had their own social circle, said Lin Feng. Brother Yuan Shan died tragically. The reason why he was killed was because he offended someone he couldn't afford to offend. The four outstanding celestial warriors and I saw it with our own eyes. Therefore, when we saw that Brother Yuan Shan's blood brother was so arrogant and despotic, we were heartbroken. We were afraid that he would follow in Yuan Shan's footsteps. Therefore, the four outstanding celestial warriors decided to teach him a lesson. We didn't use too much strength, but it's just a few scratches. He'll recover in a few days. Since Lin Feng had already said so much, it wasn't appropriate to kill Lin Feng's group of 5 now. Moreover, Exalted Lord Yu Fiend was very eager to know who young Master Yuan Shan had offended. If Yuan Shan had offended someone even Yufeng Palace couldn't afford to offend at that time, he might be implicated as well. There are too many people here. Let's go inside and talk, Lin Feng said. Exalted Lord Yufeng nodded. Then, he looked at the guards beside him and said, "Carry young master back to recuperate." Then, Exalted Lord Yufeng walked inside. Lin Feng followed closely behind Exalted Lord Yufeng. The Demiurge Broken Four monsters also entered Yufeng Palace. The people outside were still discussing what had just happened. The whole thing had really taken a turn. The guy who had beaten young Master Yaoi half to death was actually young Master Yuan Shan's friend. Furthermore, young Master Yuan Shan had already been killed. However, no one knew who had killed him. Everyone wanted to hear Lin Feng say who had killed young Master Yuan Shan. Unfortunately, Lin Feng had already followed Exalted Lord Yufeng into Yufeng Palace. However, even though they didn't know who had killed young Master Yuan Shan, the news of young Master Yuan Shan's death quickly spread throughout Yufeng Ancient City. Many people clapped their hands in joy. Even though there were many evil cultivators living in Yufeng Ancient City, in the eyes of those evil cultivators, young Master Yuan Shan deserved to die. From this, it could be seen how hateful young Master Yuan Shan was. Lin Feng had directly killed young Master Yuan Shan back then, and it was already too easy for this guy. 7th update. Brothers, have you done the mission? Everyone, please don't forget to do the mission. I'm currently ranked 8th, and the event will end on the 29th. If I can be ranked in the top 8 at the end of the event, Old Steamed Bun will explode with 20 chapters. Therefore, I beg brothers to help Old Steamed Bun up. Doing missions in the book review section, giving rewards, voting, and so on can all increase the activity. Whether or not I can get a good ranking depends on everyone's support. Chapter 45-51. In the main hall, everyone took their seats. Exaltuemo looked at Lin Feng and asked, "What happened back then? Who did my son Yuan Shan offend for him to be killed?" Lin Feng said, "I believe Exalt you must have heard about Lin Baiyan's son, Lin Feng, appearing in the Undying World, right?" Exaltuemo nodded. "Of course. I've heard about it as well. Could Yuan Shan have offended that kid?" "That's right. It's him." In Skypeak City, Lin Feng killed young Master Yuan Shan in a single move. Said Lin Feng, "What? He's that strong?" Previously, he obtained the Hoi Bao and the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman. It is said that he relied on the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman to activate the Hoi Bao. His strength shouldn't be that great. After the ancestral Magus Jade Talisman fell silent, he shouldn't be that powerful anymore, right? Exaltuemo asked. Exaltuemo had been in seclusion recently. However, Exaltuemo had his own sources of information. He knew about all the major events that had happened recently. Regardless of whether they were related to him or not, Exaltuemo would try his best to understand them. For example, the matter of Lin Feng. Although it had nothing to do with Exaltuemo, he had still managed to gather quite a bit of information. Lin Feng said, "Exalt, you shouldn't believe the rumors outside. Lin Feng is a terrifying person. Not only did he kill young Master Yuan Shan, he even killed one of the 8 young masters of the Undying World, young Master Shuiyu. Of course, Lin Feng had only killed one of young Master Shuiyu's avatars, but Exaltuemo didn't know that. Lin Feng naturally had to brag about himself as much as possible. That way, he could shock Exaltuemo even more. Young Master Shuiyu is dead? As expected, Exaltuemo was shocked when he heard that Lin Feng had killed young Master Shuiyu. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Who was young Master Shuiyu? He was one of the top figures of the Undying World's younger generation. Exaltuemo was powerful, but High Lord Uemo knew. Even if he personally took action, he did not dare to say that he could kill young Master Shuiyu. But now, young Master Shuiyu had actually been killed. Not to mention, he was killed by a young human cultivator. Sounds good. It was truly inconceivable. Lin Feng rose to his feet and took out a storage ring. When he saw the storage ring in Lin Feng's hand, High Lord Umo's pupils constricted. Naturally, he recognized him. That was young Master Yuan Shan's storage ring. My son Yuan Shan's storage ring. High Lord Uemo took a deep breath and said, "Yes, After Lin Feng killed young noble Yuan Shan, he didn't take his storage ring. Young noble Yuan Shan and I are good friends, so I feel that I have to return young noble Yuan Shan's belongings. Lin Feng said. Yuamo's supremacy's face was very ugly. He naturally knew what kind of trash his son was. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was unpardonably evil, but they were demonic Dao cultivators. Was there anything wrong with their character and methods? Even High Lord Umo himself had slaughtered billions of innocent people in order to cultivate demonic Dao. But the only thing that High Lord Umo was dissatisfied with was that his son young noble Yuanshan's eyesight was too bad. No matter how many evil deeds these demonic Dao cultivators did, their eyes had to be clean. If you did evil, no one would deal with you. But if you offended someone you could not afford to offend, you would suffer a devastating blow. High Lord Umo's style of doing things these years was to not offend people from peak factions or peak experts. That was why he had survived until now. And he had also taught young noble Yuan Shan. But clearly, young noble Yuan Shan did not take his words to heart. Lin Feng was so strong. Would he act against Umo Palace? High Lord Umo felt that he might need to contact 9 Underworld Demon Palace. Young Master Shuiyu was from 9 Underworld Demon Palace and had also died at Lin Feng's hands. 9 Underworld Demon Palace would definitely be furious. At that time, 9 Underworld Demon Palace would definitely send experts to kill Lin Feng. Even if Lin Feng was a true immortal, as long as he offended 9 Underworld Demon Palace. In High Lord Umo's eyes, 9 Underworld Demon Palace also had a way to kill Lin Feng. High Lord, please accept young noble Yuan Shan's remnant. Lin Feng came to High Lord Umo's side and handed over young noble Yuan Shan's storage ring. You're considerate. My son Yuan Shan was able to make a friend like you. His life was not in vain. High Lord Umo said. Then he took young noble Yuan Shan's storage ring. And at this time, Lin Feng suddenly exploded and sent a palm towards High Lord Umo. High Lord Umo had just taken young noble Yuan Shan's storage ring. At this time, his heart was fluctuating intensely. Moreover, he was also thinking of a way to kill Lin Feng. So he did not think that his son's best friend would actually launch a sneak attack on him. Normally, High Lord Umo was very cautious and would not let others get close to him easily. But today, because of young noble Yuan Shan, he was careless and Lin Feng got close to him. At such a close distance, High Lord Umo could not dodge even if he wanted to. Even if he wanted to block, it was already too late. Bang! Following a violent collision, a violent sound rang out. Lin Feng's terrifying fist ruthlessly smashed into High Lord Umo's chest. High Lord Umo's chest instantly caved in from the impact. Who knew how many of his bones were broken? High Lord Umo was sent flying, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood in midair. This scene happened too quickly, so fast that even the 4 demonic remnants freaks could not react. Seal the hall! Lin Feng shouted and continued to attack High Lord Umo. Take advantage of his illness. Take his life. This was the best chance to kill High Lord Umo. Moreover, in close combat, Lin Feng was practically invincible. The 4 demonic remnants freaks hurriedly sealed the hall with restrictions, then charged at High Lord Umo while shouting. By this time, Lin Feng had already arrived in front of High Lord Umo and sent another powerful punch at him. High Lord Umo wanted to dodge, but Lin Feng had already caught up to him and made it impossible for him to dodge. Thus, High Lord Umo could not help but roar in anger. Who the hell are you? Lin Feng said indifferently, I am Lin Feng, son of Lin Beitian. Today, I'm here to take your dog life. What? You're that Lin Feng? High Lord Umo was shocked. He had never imagined that the best friend of his son, young noble Yuan Shan, would be Lin Feng. This fellow was truly audacious. He had actually come all the way to Umo Palace to ambush him. Bang! At this time, the 2 sides clashed for the second time. High Lord Umo was once again sent flying by Lin Feng. Lin Feng's attacks were like a tidal wave, one punch after another, not giving High Lord Umo any chance to counterattack. At this time, the 4 demonic remnants freaks had also arrived, each of them charging at High Lord Umo with powerful attacks. High Lord Umo's expression sank. He could feel the aura of death enveloping him, causing him to feel cold all over. Chapter 45-52. High Lord Umo was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. His strength was so powerful, even if he wasn't a match for Lin Feng and the demonic four monsters. However, he definitely wouldn't be suppressed without any power to fight back like now. The main reason was because he was ambushed by Lin Feng. In a battle between experts, one wrong step would lead to many wrong steps. For example, High Lord Umo was in such a situation. Although he was very powerful, he was ambushed by Lin Feng and instantly suffered extremely serious injuries. Wanting to reverse the situation was already extremely difficult, because Lin Feng didn't even give High Lord Umo a chance to resist. Now, High Lord Umo wished that he could immediately kill Lin Feng to vent the hatred in his heart. But the actual situation was the complete opposite. Maybe Lin Feng could kill him anytime and anywhere. High Lord Umo discovered that Lin Feng's close combat strength was simply too powerful, breaking all methods with one force. He didn't even have the time to operate his divine ability. In High Lord Umo's impression, he had never seen a person with such terrifying physical strength. But Lin Feng's physical strength was so terrifying, so shocking. Of course, if his magic power operated his divine ability, High Lord Umo was confident that he could defeat Lin Feng. But in the battle with Lin Feng, he tried to get rid of Lin Feng several times. But in the end, it all ended in failure. There was no chance to use his divine ability at all. Now, the situation seemed to be even worse, because the demonic four monsters had already rushed over. High Lord Umo knew that when the demonic four monsters rushed over to form an encirclement with Lin Feng, he was afraid that he only had a dead end. So, there was only one thing that he could do now. That was to think of a way to get rid of Lin Feng. He absolutely couldn't continue to be beaten like this. When Lin Feng threw another punch at Umo, Umo's face changed. High Lord Umo's body actually exploded into a cloud of black qi. Then, after that cloud of black qi dodged Lin Feng's punch, it rushed out of the encirclement, wanting to break away from the encirclement formed by Lin Feng and the demonic four monsters. Obviously, this was a secret technique. This kind of secret technique was usually a trump card. Unless it was a life and death crisis, it would absolutely not be used. In a life and death crisis, this secret technique was often used to escape. Using this kind of secret technique would definitely consume a lot of energy. Otherwise, Empyrean Yu Fiend would have long displayed this secret art to break away from him. When Lin Feng saw that the demon Qi wanted to escape, he released his godly black fire. Flames to heaven and earth. Many clouds of black Qis to ashes. Ah, heavenly fire. It's heavenly fire. Lord Umo's to the demonic to the black to the point. The demonic Lord Umo's to the death to the end to this to the thee. To the thee to thee to thee to the this. S to the end. S to the end to the end to the end to the end. To the God to God. T Feng. To the end. To the end. Umo realized that Lin Feng had been blowing his own trumpet. Lin Feng had told him that he had killed young Master Shuiyu. At first, High Lord Umo believed it. But ever since he found out that the person who had ambushed him was Lin Feng, High Lord Umo no longer believed Lin Feng's words. High Lord Umo discovered that Lin Feng's cultivation realm wasn't particularly high. Perhaps Lin Feng's talent was shocking, but it was impossible for him to kill young Master Shuiyu at such a cultivation realm. This point, High Lord Umo was very certain. Umo estimated the fighting strength of both sides. Lin Feng had the four celestial broken monsters. They were all in the Sky Immortal realm. Their strength couldn't be underestimated. But although the Sky Immortal realm was strong, there was still a gap between them. So High Lord Umo felt that his chances of victory were rather high, even if he couldn't defeat his opponent. If he wanted to escape, he could still easily do it. But High Lord Umo discovered that the situation wasn't as good as he had imagined. Before he could escape, he was already heavily injured by Lin Feng again. The heavenly fire's damage to him was too great. In the end, only a small portion of the demonic qi escaped. Most of it was burned to ashes by Lin Feng's heavenly fire. That small portion of demonic qi once again turned into High Lord Umo. High Lord Umo rushed outside. He wanted to call for reinforcements to deal with Lin Feng and the demonic four monsters. Although the demiurge flawed for eccentrics had set up restrictions, they weren't particularly proficient in restrictions. So, High Lord Umo could easily break the restrictions set up by the demonic four monsters. The restrictions set up by the demonic four monsters were quickly broken. High Lord Umo revealed a joyful expression. After breaking the restrictions set up by the demonic four monsters, he rushed outside. Suddenly, new restrictions appeared in the void. Those new restrictions bounced High Lord Umo back. Not good. High Lord Umo's expression changed greatly. He didn't expect a new restriction to appear. And the new restriction was even more powerful. The new restriction was naturally set up by Lin Feng. High Lord Umo, give up? You won't be able to escape today. Lin Feng sneered. He and the demonic four monsters once again charged towards High Lord Umo. Ha 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 ha. High Lord Umo, today I'll let you experience the powerful strength of the demonic four heroes. The demonic four monsters shouted in unison. Then, a great battle broke out. Lin Feng and the demonic four monsters besieged High Lord Umo. Although High Lord Umo was a quasi-true immortal, his injuries were severe. Under the combined attacks of Lin Feng and the demonic four monsters, he could only defend himself. He couldn't counterattack at all. Therefore, the situation was very bad for High Lord Umo. Tian Sanyu found an opportunity to send High Lord Umo flying with a palm strike. Lin Feng took advantage of this rare opportunity to charge forward and unleash the 8 forbidden seals. Countless formation runes intertwined in the void and wrapped around High Lord Umo. High Lord Umo couldn't resist. In the end, he was sealed by Lin Feng. Why is it like this? I can't accept this. I can't accept this. High Lord Umo roared in indignation. He was a quasi-true immortal, yet he had ended up like this. Naturally, he couldn't accept it. Lin Feng looked indifferently at High Lord Umo and said, "Those who are unjust are doomed to destruction. You brought this upon yourself." Lin Feng planned to soul-search High Lord Umo. High Lord Umo was quite familiar with soul-searching techniques, so when he saw the strange energy swirling around Lin Feng's palm, he knew that Lin Feng wanted to soul-search him. High Lord Umo shouted, "Lin Gongzi, spare me. Although I deserve to die 10,000 times for my crimes. However, I am still a quasi-true immortal cultivator. I can help young master in many ways. As long as young master doesn't kill me, I'm willing to submit to young master. I hope to follow young master for the rest of my life to atone for my crimes." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.